tight, can you see it? Streaming the truth live from where they decree it. Sylvia speaks, no filter, no buffer. Courtroom drama couldn't get any tougher.
When the gavel's first bang, to the witness turns tears. Sylvia's lens captures all your hopes and fears. Uploading justice one trial at a time. Tune in every moment, edges sublime.
Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show. Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show. Faces tell stories, the courtroom can't hide. Sylvia's insights cut through the divide. From jury talks to the lawyer's secret. In Sylvia's world, you know you'll need it. Behind the scenes where whispers are loud, her lens reveals the truth in the crowd. Courtroom secrets laid bare to see. Stay curious with Sylvia Spree. Every objection, every sharp retort, Sylvia's there to give you the report. Exclusive footage no one else can snag. From catchy headlines straight to the tag. Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show. Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show.
Faces tell.
Good morning. I was just trying to make sure it was still morning. Good morning, everybody. How are you guys doing? As you guys know, we go around the world looking at different court cases, and we're going to take a trip. We're going to take a trip to Florida. We haven't been to Florida, so we're going to go to Florida to see Judge Brantley. He is the judge that's doing the criminal cases of this week. So we're going to go there. Then we might do a parole in Utah, because parole is happening today. So let's go ahead on and take a look what's happening in the courtroom of Florida. Okay, here we go. Judge Brantley in Florida. Shout out to Judge Brantley. We're going to make it louder.
Number of hours to get there, so hours to get back. Don't go on a car that's going to break down. Don't go with somebody who's going to leave you. Okay, great. We're ready, Your Honor.
These are criminal hearings, guys.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, ma'am, you can lower your hand and state your name.
Mariah Curry.
Ms. Curry, you heard the announcement of Ms. Beasley, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Is that your understanding of the agreement with the state?
Yes, sir.
Has anybody promised you anything different?
No, sir.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol this morning which would impair your ability to enter the agreement or understand any of the terms and conditions of it?
No, sir.
I have been handed a violation of probation community control plea form. There's a signature of the defendant line. Is that yours?
Yes, sir.
Have you had a chance to read that agreement?
Yes, sir.
Have you had a chance to go over your violation report with Ms. Beasley?
Yes, sir.
Have you had sufficient time to speak with Ms. Beasley about your case?
Yes, sir.
Are you satisfied with your lawyer's advice and counsel?
Yes, sir.
You understand that by admitting you violated the terms and conditions of your probation, you're waiving your right to have an evidentiary hearing?
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to require the state prove the allegations against you?
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to have your attorney cross-examine the state's witnesses and contest their evidence.
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to present any defenses that you might have to these allegations.
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to subpoena your own witnesses to come to court and testify on your behalf.
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to testify to remain silent at the evidentiary hearing, which would be your decision to make.
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to appeal anything but an illegal sentence.
Yes, sir.
Are you doing this for your own free will?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Curry, do you feel the admissions in your best interest?
Yes, sir.
You agree you violated the terms and conditions of your probation by failing to report to probation and absconding from supervision.
Yes, sir.
I'll find there's a basis for Ms. Curry's admission. I'm going to find her admission was freely and voluntarily made. After consultation with her attorney, I'm going to accept it. Her probation is modified as follows. It's extended 54 months from the original supervision start date.
54 months.
The next 12 months will be on community control. She must provide proof of gainful employment or proof of at least 3 job applications per week.
3
All
jobs
other conditions that
per
were
week.
imposed are reimposed. There's an additional $250 imposed at the cost of the,
50.
for the cost of the prosecution of the violation of probation. Her probation shall terminate if all the conditions are met and there are no violations on May 25th, 2027. I do not, Ms.
That's 2
Curry
years.
said she's on probation in Georgia and has a certain amount of time to get up there. She'll have to work that out with the Department of Corrections, Probation and Parole.
Well, she got to come to Georgia and get her stuff corrected here too.
I don't know, Claire.
She was on 36 months. She just pled May the 24th. And it's extended to 54. That's more than 2 days. Okay.
If there are no, if
Yes, yes,
That makes sense.
yes. Okay. I don't have a copy of it in front of me, so I have to go
All
by
right.
memory. So yes.
Ms. Curry, you have 30 days to file your notice of appeal. If you wish to appeal the judgment sentence, if you'd like to have an attorney to represent you, and you can't afford one. One may be appointed to represent you at no charge. Good luck to you. You need to step over and speak to the probation officer.
Make sure when you.
All right, now she violated probation, so they modified her probation.
Linton,
This judge earlier was going off on somebody.
Yeah.
He is no joke, y'all. This judge is no joke. He just getting them coming through there, boom, boom, like revolving doors. He just getting it done. Out, 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 out. This is Judge Brantley out of Florida. 14th. I think it's 14th district. I think that's what it said. He is no joke. Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Judge, Mr. Linton's before you, there's misdemeanor case 246249. We would ask that you take a plea as an acting county judge. Based on your acceptance of that plea, he would admit having willfully violated the terms of his supervision in case 224159, with the understanding his supervision would just be modified the next 12 months being on community control. There'd be an addition of 8 weekends in the Bay County Weekend Work Program. There's an additional $250 cost of prosecution, and all prior conditions are reimposed to the extent they remain incomplete or modified by this sentence.
I do.
All right, Mr. Linton, you can lower your hand, state your name.
Your Honor, if I could clarify, his supervision would have terminated, but for the violation, so it's extended that 1 year.
It's extended.
1 year, and that's the 1 year on community control.
All right, very good. All right, you swear him in?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Linton, state your name.
Chalquise Romeo Lynn.
Linton, you heard the announcement of Mr. Meredith, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Is that your understanding of the agreement with the state?
Yes, sir.
Has anybody promised you anything else?
No, sir.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today which would impair your ability to enter the agreement
No.
or understand any of the terms and conditions of it?
No, sir.
I've been handed a violation of probation plea form. There's a signature of the defendant line. Is that yours?
Yes, sir.
Have you had a chance to read that agreement?
Yes, sir.
Have you had a chance to go over your violation with Mr. Meredith?
Yes, sir.
Have you had sufficient time to speak with Mr. Meredith about your case?
Yes, sir.
Are you satisfied with your lawyer's advice and counsel?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that by admitting you violated the terms and conditions of your probation, you're waiving your right to have an evidentiary hearing?
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to require the state prove the allegations against you?
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to have your attorney cross-examine the state's witnesses and contest their evidence.
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to present any defenses you may have to the allegations.
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to subpoena your own witnesses to come to court and testify on your behalf.
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to testify to remain silent at the trial, which would be your decision to make.
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to appeal anything.
He get them through. Oh, sorry, y'all. Sorry.
If he wants to get in, we'll move it up to a wow.
Can we advance it on one of my dockets or
I'm sorry. I was
WOW docket?
deleting
sir.
something. I know y'all saw my emails. I was trying to delete something.
We'll
Sorry,
I'll
my
come see you
bad.
before the 12th, okay? I'll come see you before the 12th.
My bad. I was trying to delete some emails.
Yeah.
Some of my stuff that you.
I'm just conveying the offer.
All right, sir, have a seat. We got some other cases we need to take care of.
And Rodney King,
Rodney King. Did he come in? Rodney King? Why can't we get along? Is that Rodney King? Why can't we all get along? He's deceased now. Rest in peace.
yeah, Mr. King's case, I got an offer this morning of 24 months, Department of Corrections. We're going to deny the allegation, ask for the April 16th date.
At 1:30 and 9 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
April 16th at 1:30 for evidentiary hearing, at 9 o'clock for a possible resolution.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Miss Commander?
Look how quick he gets things through. He don't play. I just get it out. Boom, 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 boom.
Judge, Miss Commander, similarly, I got an offer this morning for Department of Corrections, so we're going to deny the allegations and ask for the April 16th date.
April 16th at 1:30 for an evidentiary hearing, at 9 o'clock for a possible resolution.
I only violated on a technical, sir.
Girl.
Like I couldn't make it to probation and I'd already completed like 50 something of my hours.
Ma'am, you're admitting you violated strict conditions of your probation right now, and everything we do is taped. You keep talking if you want to, or listen to your attorney's advice and have a seat. You do what you want to do.
Yes, sir.
I can confirm she did some good things on probation.
Got no doubt. Have a seat, ma'am.
Okay.
Tyron Jackson.
This judge is a
Your Honor, Mr. Jackson is here before you in two cases, 243750 and 214910. We had him continued off this docket, and it was probably, we should have sent a copy of that continuance to Madam Clerk to remove him, but he is on the docket for Friday for Nelson hearing.
Okay.
So, sorry. We'll see you Friday. Kevin Long. Your Honor, this is Mr. Long. He's here before you in 233593. He's going to admit his violation. His probation would be revoked. He'll be sentenced to the Department of Correction for 18 months with the credit for 224 days in the Bay County Jail, $250 to the public defender, cost of prosecution, and a civil judgment for that, and any unpaid monetary obligations still exist.
Here's what I don't understand. They can't afford a lawyer, right? But then they got to pay a fee for a lawyer for the prosecution part. I thought they don't have enough money to pay.
I swear.
Sir, lower your hand, state your name.
My name's Kevin Long.
Mr. Long, you heard the announcement of Ms. Beasley, is that correct?
I did.
Is that your understanding of the agreement with the state?
Yes, sir.
Has anybody promised you anything different?
Unfortunately not.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today which would impair your ability to enter the agreement or understand any of the terms and conditions of it?
No, sir.
I've been handed a violation of probation community control plea form. There's a signature over the defendant line. Is that yours?
Yes, sir, it is.
You had a chance to read that agreement?
I have.
You had a chance to go over your violation report with Ms. Beasley?
Yes, sir, I have.
Have you had sufficient time to speak with Ms. Beasley about your case?
I believe I have.
Are you satisfied with your lawyer's advice and counsel?
I am.
Do you understand that by admitting you violated conditions of your probation, you're waiving your right to have an evidentiary hearing?
I do.
You're waiving your right to have your attorney cross-examine the state's witnesses and contest their evidence.
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to require the state prove the allegations against you.
Right.
You're waiving your right to have your attorney cross-examine the state's witnesses and contest their evidence.
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to present, you're waiving your right to subpoena your own witnesses
Yes,
to
sir.
come to court and testify on your behalf.
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to testify to remain silent at the evidentiary hearing, which would be a decision you'd have to make.
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to appeal anything but an illegal sentence.
I am.
Are you doing this of your own free will?
Yes, sir.
You feel the admissions in your best interest?
I do.
You agree you violated terms and conditions of your probation for failing to complete your substance abuse treatment. I think this is your sixth violation. Is that correct?
Sixth violation of
All right.
substance
Okay,
abuse.
All right.
Whoa.
I'll find there's a basis for Mr. Long's admission. I'm gonna find his admission was freely and voluntarily made after consultation with his attorney. I'm going to accept it. His probation is revoked. He's adjudicated guilty of possession of amphetamine, methamphetamines, and possession of a controlled substance. On each of those, he's sentenced to 18 months in the Florida Department of Corrections to run concurrent with each other. On each count, he's to receive 224 days time served. All monies previously imposed and not paid are reduced to a civil judgment. There's an additional $250 imposed today for the cost of the prosecution of the violation of probation. That's also reduced to a civil judgment. Mr. Long, you have 30 days to file your notice of appeal. If you wish to appeal your judgment sentence, you'd like to have an attorney to represent you, you can't afford one may get one to represent you on no charge. Good luck to you. You need to step over and be fingerprinted.
Thank you, sir.
Defense would call Terrence Johnson.
But you still got that 250
Mr. Johnson's coming
Processing
before
fee.
you in case 214709, and I believe that Mr. Sullivan has an announcement to make.
uh-oh.
All right, Mr. Johnson, because you have successfully completed the terms and conditions of your probation, you're released from probation. Good luck to you. You might want to step over there and get some paperwork.
Oh, he finished his. Okay. Okay, dude. He finished all of his. Okay. This is how Florida do things. Well, this part of Florida. He get his little probation stuff completed. I think he might have paid his $250 already too. They getting $250 for everybody. Oh, they doing his fingerprinting. They fingerprinting this guy.
Asking that this
That's
be
right.
set for
Everything
9
at-
o'clock next month. An order was entered back in February 21st to 24, stating that her probation should be terminated upon completion of the wear. She completed the wear successfully in March. So I'm submitting at this point, she should not have been on probation when the affidavit was filed in January 25. So that's why we need to get everything together and present that next month.
All right, March 12th at 9 o'clock.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
But y'all notice how in over there they walking freely, the ones with the handcuffs.
Kimberly Malden?
Did she successfully complete it?
Yes, sir. I was
Y'all check and see if we can terminate her now. That's the plea offer. That was the plea.
I don't need to do that.
Are they bringing her back up? They're gonna take the other lady back down.
All right, Ms. Dutton, just have a seat. I'm gonna let the state look at this real quick, see what they want to do. No, ma'am, Ms. Dutton. Ms. Dutton, just have a seat.
Oh, yes, sir, okay.
No, we got the letter here.
There she goes. She good. There she go. They just walk
All
around.
right, what's your name?
Kimberly Malden.
Okay.
They look like they're all over the place in that courtroom.
Right, can we pass her to be screened for drug court?
Yes, we'll have a screen for drug court. I'm gonna set it for March 12th at 9 o'clock. Is that enough time? If she's successful, if she enters that and wants to do that, you can place her on Judge Rester's docket, but we'll set it for March 12th at 9 o'clock. Keep it at a preliminary.
Oh,
All right, ma'am,
thank
just
you,
step over and sign a
Ann,
notice.
for the cash app.
Monica
Thank you,
Yeager?
Ann. Thank you.
Competency status?
Appreciate you for the
I
support.
believe she's still incompetent.
I really appreciate it.
All right, let's see. We'll set her for a status. Let's set her for a status in May.
Oh, look, Red Lobsters and Apple.
That May
All of
21st?
them sending me these
May
birthday
21st at 9
things
o'clock. All
here.
right, Ms. Yeager, continue to work with life management, okay? Step over and sign a notice right here. Ms. Yeager, sign a notice right here.
They want to give me a free dessert for my birthday. Enjoy for your birthday. I don't want no dessert. What's wrong with them?
This is DeAndre Leonard.
Trying to make me fat, y'all.
Yarn, this case, I got an offer late Monday. I can't remember if it was, this is one I got Monday afternoon or,
Pardon?
I can't remember if I got this late Monday afternoon or Mr. Sullivan handed this to me this morning. But we're going to deny the allegation and explore some options. If we could have the April 16th.
April 16th at 1:30 and 9.
Yes, sir. And the reason I'm asking for April is because of the trial week and.
Yes, fine with me.
Okay, and if I can work,
I'm not questioning.
if I can work stuff out, I'll bring them back quicker.
I'm not questioning Mr. Meredith, I promise.
Yeah. Mr. Taylor? This is Derek Taylor. I got a DOC offer late Monday afternoon. We're going to deny the allegations and we've had him screened for Lifeline. They've said yes. He's been exploring Recovery Bay and I think he may have been accepted there. So I'm trying to look at options.
You want April or May or March? April with the option to move it back, move it up.
April with, if I get a better offer, I'll drag him.
All right, April 16th at 1:30 and 9 o'clock with the understanding that Mr. Meredith will advance you on an earlier docket if there's a resolution.
Anything short of DOC is what my marching orders are, right?
If we can.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
And John Bolosic? So I gave you one of mine, so. Stuff's on the back. Sign it here. Yes, sir. Yeah. More than $250 in some places around town you can't go. Yes, sir. Understood. Judge John Belaskis before in case 23-2108. The allegation of violation is that he left Chrome. However, he has a successful completion from July of last year. He stayed an additional 6 months, but he didn't finish that 6 months and left. Or
Stayed an additional year by choice and did 6 months of it.
but he left, checked in with probation daily until there was a warrant, and then turned himself in at the probation office. So he's going to enter a best interest plea admitting that he violated the terms of his supervision by leaving Chrome before the natural date for that extra year. But the agreement is that his supervision just be modified, the remainder be on drug offender probation, additional $250 costs for today's proceedings. And any unpaid monetary obligations or other conditions are reimposed.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Blosick, you can lower your hand and state your name.
John Leroy Balassi.
Blosick, you heard the announcement of Mr. Meredith, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Is that your understanding of the agreement with the state?
Yes, sir.
Has anybody promised you anything different?
No, sir.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol this morning, which would impair your ability to enter the agreement or understand the terms and conditions of it?
No, sir.
I've been handed a violation of probation community control plea form. There's a signature of the defendant line. Is that yours?
Yes, sir, it is.
Have you had a chance to read that agreement?
Yes, sir.
You had a chance to go over your violation report with Mr. Meredith?
Yes, sir.
You had sufficient time to speak to Mr. Meredith about your case?
Yes, sir, I have.
Are you satisfied with your lawyer's advice and counsel?
Yes, sir.
You understand that by admitting you violated the terms and conditions of your probation, you're waiving your right to have an evidentiary hearing?
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to require the state prove the allegations against you?
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to have your attorney cross-examine the state's witnesses and contest their evidence.
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to present any defenses you may have to the allegations.
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to subpoena your own witnesses to come to court and testify on your behalf.
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to testify to remain silent at the evidentiary hearing, which would be your decision to make.
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to appeal anything but an illegal sentence.
Yes, sir.
Are you doing this of your own free will?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Blosick, do you feel the admissions in your best interest?
Yes, sir.
Or I am going to find there's a basis based on the statement made by Mr. Meredith for Mr. Blosick's admission. I'm going to find his admission was freely and voluntarily made after consultation with his attorney. I'm going to accept it. His probation is modified as follows. The remainder will be on drug offender probation. All conditions that were imposed are reimposed. There's an additional $250 imposed today for the cost of the prosecution of the violation of probation. Mr. Blosick, you have 30 days to file a notice of appeal for you is to appeal your judgment sentence. If you'd like to have an attorney to represent you and you can't afford one, one may be appointed to represent you at no charge. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Step over and speak to the probation officer.
Good luck. Judge, there's either a Kelly Shaw or Kelly Spinks in the box. She's representing herself.
All right, Ms. Spinks. Ms. Spinks, you're before the court today for your evidentiary or a preliminary hearing. And you've been arrested on an outstanding warrant alleging you violated the terms and conditions of your probation. Do you wish to represent yourself?
Yes, I do, or possibly hire an attorney. I had filed a motion for a bond reduction to RR me. I have no RO, I've never missed a court date. I've never had an absconding. I put in 2 different motions to Judge Overstreet to release me from jail before, and I left and went to Tennessee and brought myself back, turned myself back in. I have no reason to be held, but I can't do it and represent myself inside of
I'm
jail.
not going to release you. I mean, I issued the warrant. You're going to be held without bond. Question you have to answer yourself. Do you wish to have an attorney appointed to represent you?
Well, I mean, I want to make, I'm ready to make a plea deal or a plea in front of you. Either way,
Well,
there's just some circumstances surrounding my case that,
well, you might want to talk to a lawyer. That's up to you. I don't know.
could I speak to somebody today possibly real quick or?
They could, I don't know what they can do for you, but I can certainly appoint one if you meet the criteria.
Yes, sir.
If she has an affidavit filed, she's not asking for one. If you'll raise your right hand to be sworn, I'll ask you a few questions.
Yes, sir.
You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do.
All right, you can lower your hand and state your name.
Kelly Spinks.
Ms. Spinks, you're asking for a public defender to be appointed. Are you working at this time?
Well, I work for myself, but I have jobs that are lined up.
Oh my
Yes.
God,
How long have you been
lady.
in custody?
I was arrested, I think the 30th.
Of January?
Yes.
Do you have any money in the bank?
I don't have any money in the bank per se, no.
Do you own a vehicle?
Yes, I own a vehicle.
What do you own?
I own a 1999 Dodge Durango.
Okay.
1999.
And do you own any real property, any land?
I do not own any land.
Madam Clerk, I'll appoint the Office of Public Defender to represent you, ma'am. Just have a seat in the box, okay?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Angel, you say you feel you did a life sentence in front of him?
Your Honor, Mr. Davis is before you. He has a misdemeanor case that we have a plea worked out on 25 MM 59, and I'll pass that forward.
Okay,
And then on his violation of probation in 24750, he's going to admit his violation on the reduced charged or the change charged of a fray. His probation will be modified and extended to 60 months from the original plea date, $250 for the cost of prosecution and defense. All prior incomplete conditions are modified and reimposed. He will have bars to bed chrome. He'll do the inpatient and the aftercare component. And once he's on the aftercare component of chrome, he must maintain gainful employment of at least 30 hours or submit proof of at least 3 job applications per week. And he has signed the forms and I'm passing them forward.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I do.
Mr. Davis, you can lower your hand and state your name.
David Davis?
Davis, you just heard the announcement of Ms. Beasley. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Is that your understanding of the agreement with the state?
Yes, sir.
Has anybody promised you anything different?
No, sir.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today, which would impair your ability to enter the agreement or understand any of the terms and conditions of it?
No, sir.
I've been handed a violation of probation plea form, and there's a signature over the defendant line. Is that yours?
Yes, sir.
Have you had a chance to read that agreement?
I have.
You had a chance to go over your violation report with Ms. Beasley?
Yes, sir.
Have you had sufficient time to speak with Ms. Beasley about your violation?
Yes, sir.
Are you satisfied with your lawyer's advice and counsel?
Yes, sir.
You understand that by admitting you violated the terms and conditions of your probation, you're waiving your right to have an evidentiary hearing?
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to require the state prove the allegations against you?
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to have your attorney cross-examine the state's witnesses and contest her evidence.
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to present any defenses that you might have to these allegations.
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to subpoena your own witnesses to come to court and testify on your behalf.
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to testify to remain silent at the evidentiary hearing, which will be your decision to make.
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to appeal anything but an illegal sentence.
Yes, sir.
Are you doing this of your own free will?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Davis, do you feel this admission is in your best interest?
I do.
All right, I am going to find there's a basis for Mr. Davis' admission about his plea to the misdemeanor affray. I'm going to find his admission was freely and voluntarily made after consultation with his attorney. I'm going to accept it. His probation is modified as follows. It's extended 60 months from his original sentence date. As a special condition of his probation, he'll enter successfully complete the Chrome program plus the aftercare program. And as he must maintain gainful employment or show proof of at least 3 job applications per week. That's as long as that doesn't counter what he has to do. It has to do at Chrome. And that
When
would
he's in Chrome, they make him work for Chrome.
right. So,
And then the aftercare, they'll
Aftercare.
help him find a job.
all right. If I didn't, then there's an additional $250. All other conditions are reimposed that have not been completed. Mr. Davis, you have 30 days to file your notice of appeal. If you wish to appeal your judgment sentence, if you'd like to have an attorney to represent you, you can't afford one. One may be appointed to represent you at no charge. Good luck to you.
Just a quick question. He is currently on community control. Do we want to let that run while he's in Chrome? Do we want to stop it and resume it after?
Stop it.
His May 19th is when his.
The balance will just be probation.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Mr. Davis, good luck to you. Step over and speak to the probation officer. I'm sorry. Thank you.
You know, before you get released, to get the same thing done, new pictures and fingerprints. What, Kobe? What, Kobe? Kobe, stop it. What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for?
So I can call Mrs. Spinks. Ms. Spinks, you come back up, please.
Kobe, stop that noise.
And Judge, obviously,
Kobe, come
we're doing this kind of on the fly, but I've explained to Ms. Your initial, sorry, explained to Ms. Spinks the terms and conditions of this plea. She's prepared to admit having willfully violated the terms of her supervision by testing positive for a controlled substance without a prescription. The understanding is her supervision would be modified. It'd be extended to.
So they got caught using while
Is she
they
on a second degree felony?
She got caught using.
You leave, y'all didn't work on anything on Miss Dutton? All right, Miss Dutton, you need to come up and sign that notice. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor.
No, it's that tells you how much I know about the case. Her probation will be extended to the full 60 months from her original supervision start date. She'd be committed to the inpatient drug treatment. That specifically is Florida Springs. Her son has, I think she's been there before, and her son is going to arrange that. She has 48 hours to report. They will not transport from the jail. Her remaining supervision will be on drug offender probation, and she must maintain gainful employment or provide proof of at least 3 job applications each week. There's an additional $250 cost of prosecution that's imposed for this proceeding, and any prior conditions that remain incomplete will be reimposed to the extent they're modified by this plea. It's kind of a best interest plea to get out and get into treatment. Is that right?
Yes, well, we were talking about I'm gonna go to another place once I get off of probation in Tennessee, but they don't take people with pending court cases. I've been trying to get in there.
Right.
My sister lives up there, so, and it's a long place, but
Okay. And Ms. Spinks, you're already under oath, so you heard the announcement, Mr. Meredith. Is that your understanding of the agreement with the state?
yes, sir, it
Does
is.
anybody promise you anything different?
No, sir.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today, which would impair your ability to enter the agreement?
No, sir.
I've been handing a violation of probation community control plea form. There's a signature on the defendant line. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir, it is.
Have you had a chance to read that agreement?
Yes, sir.
Have you had a chance to go over your violation? I know it's limited, but have you had enough time to speak with Mr. Meredith about your violation?
Yes, sir, I have.
Are you satisfied with his advice and counsel?
Yes, sir, I am.
You understand that by entering this admission, you're waiving your right to have an evidentiary hearing?
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to require the state prove the allegations against you.
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to have your attorney cross-examine the state's witnesses and contest their evidence.
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to present any defenses that you might have to these allegations.
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to subpoena your own witnesses, come to court and testify on your behalf.
Yes, sir.
You're waiving your right to testify to remain silent at the evidentiary hearing, which would be a decision you'd have to make.
Yes, sir.
Are you doing this for your own free will?
Yes, I am.
Ms. Spinks, do you feel the admissions in your best interest?
Yes, I think it's in my best interest.
I am going to accept the stipulation that Mr. Meredith placed on the record. I'm going to find there's a basis for Ms. Spinks' admission. I'm going to find it was freely and voluntarily made after consultation with her attorney. I'm going to accept it. Her probation is modified as follows. It's extended 60 months from original supervision start date. She'll enter and successfully complete an inpatient drug treatment. That's Florida Springs. She has 48 hours once she's released from custody from court. The remaining balance for probation will be drug offender probation. You must maintain engagement employment or provide proof of 3 job applications per week. All other conditions that have not been completed are reimposed. There's an additional $250 imposed for the cost of the supervision of probation. Ms. Spinks, you have 30 days to file a notice of appeal. If you wish to appeal the judgment sentence, you'd like to have an attorney to represent you, and you can't afford one. One may be appointed to represent you at no charge. Good luck to you. You need to step over and speak to the probation officer.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
And sir, I wanted to tell you, Your Honor you've really worked with me and been good to me. I've been a drug addict for many years, and I've been doing really good. I just had some major issues happen, and I had a relapse, but I'm very pleased with the court system. They've helped me, and it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing.
Take advantage of this treatment. We wish you the best.
Thank you.
Mr. Milton, go out.
All right, yeah, we're gonna leave this court. We're gonna go to probation. All right, this is the crazy one right here now. Wait. He's talking about voices talking to him.
Okay, all right. Any physical health issues the board should be aware of?
I have an ACL tear in my left knee, which I also let the officer know that when he was trying to do the field sobriety, why I could not stand is because I have an ACL tear that I've had ever since I was 17. I do have valid, I did let the highway patrol know that I had medical issues. I have back problems and stuff like that. And so after a really short time, he just turned into a jerk, to be honest with you, and said, well, I'm just going to give you a DUI. Called my agent, and that was it.
Okay.
Took me in. I tried to call my agent to let him know what was happening, and he never answered to me. I was just brand new.
Hey,
I never
pretty.
even met the gentleman. I was supposed to meet him the following day. Like I said, I'm new to Pleasant View, and it was because I've had a lot of issues in Salt Lake. That's where I'm familiarized, and that's where a lot of my drug hanging out and stuff like that. And I moved out of that area so that I don't have that no more. Like I was doing good. I'm still doing good. I'm not doing bad.
All right. If you're granted a parole, where would you go?
To my fiance's in Pleasant View.
And back to work at Flying J.
Yes, they're willing to bring me back. Yes, sir. Is
And
what they
then
said.
you'll do whatever treatment's asked of you. Is that
If
correct?
I need to, yeah, I've done a lot, but if I need to counter some treatment with my work schedule, I gotta do what I gotta do, sir.
Certainly. Okay. Well, and it always start with that evaluation first, right? So we'll see what needs to be done, and we'll go from there. All right. Well, thank you for all the information you've given me today. I'm going to take my report to the board. They'll deliberate, make a final decision. They'll post it on the board's website almost immediately after it's made, and then they'll send you a letter. So it's faster to learn if you can contact people on the outside who can look it up on the site. Otherwise, wait for that letter to get to you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, today's the time and place scheduled for a parole violation hearing for Mr. Zachary Talbot, offender number 2284641. Is that you, sir?
Yes, yes, it is.
All right, Mr. Talbot, my name is Jared Chappell. I'm a hearing officer at the Board of Pardons and Parole. I've been assigned to conduct your hearing today. On the monitor, you should be able to see your attorney, Ms. Conyers. And then you'll be able to hear Agent Dalton. Our video is not working, but you will be able to hear her, okay? All right. Mr. Talbot, Agent Dalton, well, Mr. Talbot, I'll be taking testimony from you. If you could raise your right hand to be placed under oath. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be truthful and accurate?
I do.
All right, thank you. I'll note for the record, Agent Dalton has previously been placed under oath this morning and remains under the same obligation. Mr. Talbot, did you receive at least 7 days notice of today's hearing?
I did.
Did you receive your blue disclosure packet?
I did.
Did you have an opportunity to review that information?
I did, sir.
Did you have an opportunity to meet with your attorney?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready to proceed today?
Yeah, this is the parole hearing.
It looks like
We're
Mr.
doing
Talbot has
courtroom and parole
a few
hearing.
pending
today,
cases.
so a mixture.
Yes, we'd ask to enter denials at this time and continue for 30 days.
And this
He has
is
a prelim
Utah.
next week and thinks he may be able to resolve it by that time.
Agent Dalton, any objection to that?
No, we would like to continue as well.
Okay. All right, Mr. Talbot, what I will do today then is I will take denial simply as a placeholder, recommend a paper review in approximately 30 days. What that means is the board will conduct a hearing simply administratively, just to check your case and see if it's resolved. If it is, they'll get you back on a calendar. If it's not, then they'll just kick it out again until that case is resolved. If in the interim you do resolve your case, write us a letter so that we can get you back on the calendar sooner than later, okay?
Okay, I will do that.
All right, any questions about anything?
No, sir.
All right, any questions from anybody else? Hearing
No,
nothing,
thank
I'll
you.
conclude the hearing.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good day. Thank you.
Yay. Okay, in the state of Utah, they don't give them a direct denial or approval until afterwards. They do not do that at all. All right, so you got it on mute. And this is the state of Utah for parole and probation. We can't even hear them. Why they got it muted?
All right, today's the time and place scheduled for a parole violation hearing for Mr. Johnson Angel, offender number 236549. Is that you, sir?
Yes, that's me.
Sir, my name is Jared Chappell. I'm a hearing officer at the Board of Pardons and Parole. I've been assigned to conduct your hearing this morning. On the monitor, you should be able to see your attorney, Ms. Conyers, as well as Agent Cook, or excuse me, Agent Hernandez.
Yes, I'm just using this computer.
Sorry, what's that, Agent Hernandez?
I'm just using Agent Cook's computer.
Okay. Mr. Angel, are you able to see each of them?
Yeah, I'm able to see them.
All right, Mr. Angel, Agent Hernandez, I'll be taking testimony from each of you. If you could each raise your right hand to be placed under oath. Do each of you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be truthful and accurate?
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Mr. Angel, did you receive at least 7 days notice of today's hearing?
Yes, I did.
Did you receive your blue disclosure packet?
Yes, I did.
Have you had a chance to review that information?
Yeah, I did.
Did you have an opportunity to speak with your attorney?
Yeah, I did.
Are you ready to proceed today?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, sir. I am.
All right, and it's my understanding that your mom and siblings are there in attendance. We welcome them today. Ms. Connie,
Okay,
I'd like to proceed.
Yes, thank you. There are 2 allegations and he will admit to both of them.
And your recommendation?
Yes, this was his first attempt to parole. We're asking for credit for time served for approximately the 2.5 months he's been in custody, to give him credit against a 90-day recommendation and give him another opportunity at parole. He'd like to start that parole at a halfway house. Although he does have some financial support, he does get tribal money. So he should, and that should be plenty for him to get a place once he's stabilized. But he does need and recognizes that he does need a program to get back on his feet. So between the halfway house and hopefully a program, he should be able to stabilize, and then he'll have the financial means to do what he needs to do and continue his treatment. So that's our request at this time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Agent Hernandez, your response recommendation.
I've never had a chance to meet Mr. Angel yet. I have worked with his family pretty closely. I would agree. I would think this is his first violation. I would like to see him be released into a treatment center or a halfway house to a treatment center because of his drug use. I would like that he completes that treatment center as part of his parole. But if I see no reason why he couldn't be released to a halfway house and then a treatment center after.
Okay. You're recommending residential?
Yes. Or yes, residential treatment.
Okay. Anything else you'd like me to know, Agent Hernandez?
Excuse me, sir?
Anything else you'd like me to know?
No, that's it.
Okay. All right, Mr. Angel, I've heard from everybody but you. What would you like me to know? Tell me what happened with the violations, and then we can kind of work our way forward.
I was struggling with addiction when I got out recently. I walked away from my rehab to go get high, but I know that was a big mistake. And I hope you know that I want to let you know, Your Honor, that my intentions is to do good right now, and I want to get back on my feet. I want to go to a program, and I want to do good. I want to complete probation. My first time I violated probation just this last year. I regret it. I regret doing it, and so I was just hoping that you guys give me an opportunity to do parole again, probation again, because I regretted it. I regretted every time I got high out there. I didn't want it. So I'm really looking forward to trying again, and I'm hoping you guys can give me the opportunity to try probation again, because I regret messing up. And
So you were out for about a month, right?
I was out for about a month. Yeah, I was out for about 2 months.
During that time, was anything going well, or was it all pretty much a struggle?
Everything was going well. I mean, I was in rehab. I mean, everything was blessing, but I walked away, and I should have never walked away.
And you say you walked away to go get high?
Yeah.
What drugs did you use while you were on parole?
Meth.
Meth. Whoa.
How frequently did you use meth?
I did it like at least 3 times a week.
Okay.
Times a week, and then I was afraid to come back. So that was my big mess up.
Okay. And so then you were a fugitive for about a month, right?
Yeah.
Where were you at during that time?
I was out in Salt Lake City at my friend's house, and then I went from my friend's house to a motel, and then they picked me up at my motel because it was in my dad's name.
He put the motel in his dad's name. Lord have mercy.
When you were arrested, were you just arrested on your warrant, or are there any?
I was arrested on my warrant violation, probation. That was it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no other charges out there that we need to worry about?
No other charges, no.
Okay.
Somebody else is having a meeting on the other side. You can hear they talking.
So meth was the only drug you used while you were out?
Yeah, I was using that when I was out there when I relapsed.
Any gang involvement?
No gang involvement.
Okay. How's your mental health? And I know you previously had a diagnosis of anti-personality disorder. Is that being treated, or?
It's being treated. I'm doing good. I take medication for my schizophrenia,
Okay.
And you know, I'm in population right now. I'm in the highest level for mental health.
Okay.
So I'm doing pretty good right now.
That
I'm on the
message
highest
must be
population,
I
and
said it. Didn't I say it? No.
my treatment's going good. I mean, I'm not acting out. I'm not getting upset. While I'm here, I'm just doing my time and being normal, trying to be normal as possible.
How about your physical health? How you doing physically?
I work out a lot.
Okay.
I do like a couple hundred push-ups a day, 200 or 300 push-ups a day,
So,
and then
sorry, go ahead.
then I'm done. Go ahead. My bad.
No, I apologize for interrupting. No issues that would keep you from being able to hold a job or be active, get to where you need to go, things like that.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your plan if the board were to grant you another parole?
Say that one more time. Repeat that one more time.
What is your plan if the board grants you another parole? Sounds like you need to go to a community center initially.
I need to go to a treatment center and I need to get my schooling done because I want to try to graduate high school, and just about it. Just work on my schooling and my probation and the program stuff, and a job. Give me a job, of course, and place to live.
Okay. And it sounds like you're at least willing to look into treatment and go to some kind of a treatment program.
Yeah. Yeah, where I'm at right now, my population area, they don't have that much opportunities. So hopefully, if you guys do give me that parole probation, I could take the opportunity to go to school, go back to adult ed, stuff like that. Yeah.
Would you go back to Red Pine or would you go to a different program?
I go to a different program.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, the program.
Okay, well, I think those are all the questions that I have for you. Do you have any questions for me?
No, Your Honor, no.
Agent Hernandez, anything you'd like to add?
Yes, so he does have other family that's on probation. I think a sister and a father. They're doing amazing. He's got support from his family.
Okay.
And so if that was to play into things, I know they're very supportive with AP&P. And actually, when he first went fugitive, his dad came down and talked to me about it also, that he was trying to help find him and get him things taken care of. So he does have a strong support, family system type going on.
Ms. Conner,
Treatment would be, his drug use is his biggest downfall, and he definitely needs some kind of treatment.
Okay. Yeah, so it sounds like that might be an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else, Agent Hernandez?
No, sir. That's it.
Ms. Connors?
No, thank you.
All right, Mr. Angel, what I'll do today then is I'll accept each of your admissions to allegations 1 and 2, and I'll recommend your parole date of October 8, 2024 be revoked. What will happen today is I will write a report that will include Agent Hernandez's recommendation as well as council's recommendation. The board members will review it and they'll make a decision. Once they've reached a decision, you'll receive a copy of the order through the mail. But for your family that's there in attendance, they can check the board's website. The decision will hopefully be posted sometime next week, bop.utah.gov. They can go on there, find out what the decision was, and then let you know, Mr. Angel, so that you're not waiting around wondering what's going on, okay?
Okay.
Anything from anybody? Okay, hearing nothing. That'll conclude the hearing. Thanks, everyone.
Excuse me, are we allowed to say?
Sorry, family. No, you're not during this hearing. So I apologize. That'll conclude the hearing. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Today's the time and place scheduled for a parole violation hearing for Mr. Ian Golden, offender number 225105. Is that you, sir?
Yes, it is.
Sir, my name is Jared Chappell. I'm a hearing officer with the Board of Pardons and Parole. I've been assigned to conduct your hearing this morning. On the monitor, you should be able to see your attorney, Ms. Conyers, as well as Agent Anderson. Can you see each of them?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Golden, Agent Anderson, I'll be taking some testimony from each of you. If you could each raise your right hand to be placed under oath. Do each of you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be truthful and accurate?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Mr. Golden, did you receive at least 7 days notice of today's hearing?
I did.
Did you receive your blue disclosure packet?
I did.
Did you have an opportunity to review that information?
Yes, I have.
And did you have an opportunity to meet with your attorney?
Yes.
Are you ready to proceed today?
I am.
All right, thank you. No, your mom's there in attendance, so we welcome her to the hearing today. Ms. Conyers, how would you like to proceed?
Thank you. Yes, he will plead no contest on everything but number 3, using methamphetamine. To that one, he will admit.
In addition to 3, no contest, please the balance, correct?
Yes.
Agent Anderson, any objection?
No.
Ms. Conyers, recommendation?
Yes, this was his first attempt at parole. We're asking for 90 days with credit for the 2.5 months he served and then a second attempt at parole. This first attempt, he was only out 27 days, and it sounds like maybe he didn't know what to expect. This time he does know what to expect. He knows what is expected of him and how he can successfully complete parole. He hopes to start that opportunity at parole at Fortitude. He has a job lined up at a temp agency and plans to do treatment at Cornerstone, the intensive outpatient treatment program at Cornerstone. Sounds like he has some very supportive family, clearly those who are here as part of this hearing today and otherwise, and they're going to help him with the transportation and other things that he needs so that he can be successful. He also plans to get Medicaid to help him with that treatment and anything other medical needs that he has. So it sounds like between his family and knowing what to expect and planning on success, that he ideally will be successful this go around if given the opportunity. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Agent Anderson, your response to recommendation?
No response.
All right, recommendation?
I support the recommendation.
All right, Mr. Golden, I've heard from everybody but you. What would you like me to know? Let's start with the violations, what happened there, and then we can work our way forward.
Okay, so as far with the violations, I pled no contest to quite a few of them, but guilty to the being dirty for methamphetamine. That was I was dirty for methamphetamine. The rest I pled no contest to, mainly because I feel like some of them I didn't have like a full opportunity with given the amount of time I was on parole to be able to complete or do. So those are like those things that I just want to I was but yeah, so I'm ready to it's kind of like my attorney said, I feel like I kind of wasn't maybe prepared for maybe exactly what was going to happen. But now that I have a better idea of what I need to do,
See what happened?
and I've spent
Trump,
the last
your
2.5
brain get
months
fried.
pondering that and thinking on that. This all stemmed from a violation. I mean, the violation stemmed from mainly from a relapse. I relapsed on a pass. I called pretty much right after it happened. I pretty much stopped myself in the middle of a relapse and stopped myself and got out of the situation. I called. I was waiting for the bus at the track station, and honestly, I fell asleep. I woke up and it was already past the time for the buses. They already stopped running. So I spent that night at the track station, freezing my butt off and waiting for the next bus. So, and then that morning I called my mom, who is my approved sponsor and my biggest support. And I called her and she brought me back to Fortitude. So that's pretty much what happened with the violation. I didn't, after I relapsed, I wasn't in like the mind or the mindset of wanting to run or take off or not deal with parole. It was just a bad decision, a bad mistake, and it put me in a bad spot. I realized that, and I just wish I just hope for the opportunity to be able to do better this time. And I have a better plan of what I'm gonna do. I'm getting involved with USARA, as well as getting involved with some things there at Fortitude, maybe with the Solid Out program. I was talking to them about that. And then doing treatment at Cornerstone. That's where I prefer to do treatment because it will work out with where it's at, location, and things like that. And then if I'm not able to go there, there's a lot of other opportunities and choices to pick from. But that's the one that I'm really like kind of set on right now.
Okay.
I wanted to do that and making that happen. And then I'm signed up at all trades, so I'll be able to work. And then as far as my center fees go, my parents are going to be able to help me with that. So that will be taken care of. My supervision fees, I'll continue to work on those. I've kind of accrued those over the last few years on AP&P. So, but yeah, I definitely intend on taking care of the things that I was lacking on and moving forward and definitely staying away from meth.
So was it meth that you relapsed on then?
Yeah, it was.
And were you with friends or how did that come about?
So I went on pass. I ran into somebody at the bus stop. And I kind of had a stressful day that day. And I was it was just the wrong place at the wrong time type of thing. People, places, and things. And I ran into somebody that was one of an acquaintance that I know that was using, and I just I fell back on like some old behaviors, old patterns that I'm trying to work towards, not
You
continuing as
believe you're
far as
gonna get
my
another chance
sobriety
on
goes
me?
and my recovery. And I had this blip chance, just that one bad little decision choice. But in the middle of that, I kind of just got up and left a little bit into it, but I did use. So I regretted it right away, of course.
So, and then after you did that, you called the center, but you missed the bus. Is kind of what I got, right?
Yeah. Like I was at the Solid Tracks downtown, the one where the main one, and I was sitting there in a bus stall waiting for the bus, and I don't know if it was just I kind of had a panic attack and I kind of freaked out a little bit, and my anxiety kind of got the best of me, and I ended up kind of just like falling asleep, I guess, and then I kind of came to, and it was like about midnight.
Hey, Venturin.
And so I ended up just sitting there like the whole night, freezing my butt off. So it was like beginning of December.
Right.
So it was pretty cold that night. And then
Hey guys, everybody's
it's just
coming
one of
in.
those things that like in addiction and with the recovery, that make a decision like that or a choice like that, and that's kind of the consequences of what happens. So but yeah, so of course I'm sitting there all night pretty much, and I'm just regretting the whole thing and figuring out what I need to do to not continue to make it a problem. Because normally I wouldn't have called and asked for help. I wouldn't have went back. I would have, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago, I would never have turned myself in. I would never have went back. I would have just took off and catch me if you can type of a thing. So for me, that was even though I relapsed but along the lines of
What do you contribute to that change?
to make sure it doesn't happen again.
No, as far as like you said, in the past, you wouldn't have turned yourself in, you'd have just ran but now you didn't. Was there something that?
I think it's just like due to the treatment and where I'm at in my sobriety and my recovery. I just, I've kind of gone down that path before. And I knew what the consequences would be. And I knew that if I continued to make another bad decision after bad decision, if I didn't stop myself in that when I did, that it would just make it worse.
Okay.
And things wouldn't get better. And then, I made it like a blip of a bad decision to use, but I wasn't really in that mindset of wanting to go that route. I really like wanting to do better, I guess is what it is.
No gang involvement, correct?
No.
And then you spoke a little bit about anxiety. Any other mental health like diagnosis?
Yeah, I do. I'm diagnosed bipolar 2, depression, anxiety.
Thank you.
ADD.
Thank you, Kobe.
And I don't know, I did take the full mental health assessment and RNO this time. I did that, talked with them. I'm pretty stable right now for the most part. I feel I've been on the medication for a while now, so that's very helpful.
You feel like
It's just like, and then like with me too, with the mental health part and recovery, having counseling, therapy, things like that is what I'm missing right now. That really helps.
Okay. How's your physical health?
It's pretty good. I don't have teeth. I haven't had teeth for a while. I got them pulled a couple of years ago, just due to the condition they were in and the problems I was having. And I haven't been able to get dentures yet. So with that, I am. That's probably one of the biggest things I want to work on. And I have a program where I can get them. So it's just a matter of staying stable enough to do that.
So then it sounds like if the board grants another parole, you want to go back to Fortitude.
Yes, I do.
And then you've got a job with a temp agency. Is that going to be full-time employment or what does that look like?
That'll probably be more along the lines of what treatment, on like a treatment schedule, I'm sure, with IOP.
Okay.
And then when I'm not in treatment, or work out my schedule to where I am able to work.
Okay.
So I have to figure that out with the treatment center.
Yeah, you'll need to work with Agent Anderson too to make sure that you're.
Yeah, with Fortitude as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I know they have some requirements when it comes to employment and things like that. So. All right. Well, I think I've asked you all the questions that I have. Do you have any questions for me?
I don't, sir.
Okay. Agent Anderson, anything you'd like to add?
Just something real quick. Something that Mr. Golden said. I want to remind you, Ian, that from the day one that you came into the building in November, we talked about you working with me and me working with you. And I said, and I will continue to say for every time that you come here, that as long as you're willing to work with me, I'm willing to work with you, right? So try to get out of that mindset of freaking out when you mess up, because if you had just remembered that and recalled on that, this whole conversation and you being where you are, it wouldn't be the case. There would be a violation, but we wouldn't be in this position right now. And your parole would have done tremendously more successful than it did.
I agree.
Yeah, and I will echo that and state that, AP&P has a lot of options to work with you until you don't report. If you miss a report or you take off, then they really the only thing they can do is get a warrant at that point. So doesn't mean there won't be consequences, but what those consequences are, can be vastly different than coming back to prison. So you're always better to just work with your agent and just know that, yeah, you might get some
You
consequences.
say you
but that
sound
doesn't mean
high
you're gonna come
now.
back to prison.
Exactly.
You might go to jail for the weekend, but you don't come back to prison. So it's, a big difference. Agent Anderson, anything else you'd like to add?
No, that's it.
Okay, Ms. Conyers.
Nothing, thank you.
All right, Mr. Golden, what I'll do today then is I'll accept your admission to allegation 3 and I'll accept your no contest pleas to the rest of the allegations. With that, I'll recommend your parole date of November 5th, 2024 be revoked. I know this is your first time through the parole violation process, correct?
Not blowing.
Correct.
Okay.
Stop
So let
that.
me just give you a little roadmap for how things are
Yeah.
gonna go and then
That's
it's
nasty,
beneficial
Cody.
for your mom
Nasty.
that's there as well. I'll write a report. That report will include Agent Anderson's recommendation as well as council's recommendation, which happen to be the same. The board members will review the report, and then they'll make a decision. Once they've reached their decision, you'll receive a copy of the order through the mail. It could take a couple of weeks for that order to work its way to you, but it will be posted online as soon as that decision's made. So your mom can go to the board's website, bop.utah.gov. Hopefully sometime next week, that decision will be posted there. And then she can let you know what it was so that you're not waiting around wondering what's going on, okay?
Okay.
All right, any questions about anything?
No, sir.
All right, anything from anybody else? That'll conclude the hearing then. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, it looks like the next one was removed, so we have a hearing and
They muted so they can get the information. I just realized why they do it. Okay, I think we better move on to another type of stuff because I think probation is over. Just say a prayer for me. All right, let's go someplace else now. Let's go. 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 Let's see where we're going to go. Let's take a trip down the road. Let's take a trip down the road. All right, let's see. Let's see let's see if Connecticut has something going on. Let's see if the Connecticut folks got something going on. We don't see Connecticut live today. No live for Connecticut. Nothing for Connecticut today, people. Nope, Connecticut's not live. Let's see what's going on. Nope. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. No oral arguments, all right. Okay, no oral arguments. Let's see. All right, let's go find something to do, people. All right, guys, let's see what's going on around the world. Let's take it around the world. We have let's see. Let's see. We don't have anybody. Seems like the courts are. Let's go to first appearance in Clayton County.
Aggravated stalking, aggravated assault, not stalking, aggravated assault, that bond is $3,500. Theft by taking, $4,500. Criminal trespass, $2,500. 2 counts of identity fraud, $5,000, and 1 count of obstructing an officer, $2,000, for a total bond of $54,000. You have a stay away condition to stay away from the alleged victim, Celeste Fahy. You're not to return to 6545 L204 Highway 42 in Rex, Georgia. Your preliminary hearings for both charges are going to be on March 19th. Do you have any questions, Mr. Manderson?
Oh, ma'am.
All right, you're free to go. Thank you. Good afternoon, sir. What's your name? I'm sorry, could you repeat it, sir?
Nehemiah?
Say your full name.
Nehemiah Ozor.
Okay. All right, Mr. Ozu, you've been charged with 1 count of simple battery. Your bond is $2,500. You have a stay away condition to stay away from the alleged victim, Javante Barnes. Your preliminary hearing is going to be on March 18th at 8:30 a.m. unless you want to waive that hearing this morning, Mr. Ozu. And I am appointing counsel to represent you, sir. Do you have any questions? All right, you're free to go. Thank you. Good afternoon, sir. What's your name? All right, Mr. Adult Kodawa, you've been charged with 1 count of burglary. That bond is $5,500. 1 count of criminal damage in the 2nd degree, $4,500. Theft by receiving stolen property, $3,500. Loitering or prowling, $1,000. Your total bond is $14,500. You have a stay away condition to stay away from 5336 Jonesboro Road, Lake City, which is the Affordable Dream Cars location. Your preliminary hearing is going to be on March 19th at 8:30 a.m. And I am appointing counsel to represent you, Mr. Okodu. Wow. Do you have any questions, sir?
What's the time to get those charges dropped?
I'm sorry, I can't clearly hear you. Can you speak up, sir?
Time limit to get those charges dropped?
The charges aren't being dropped today, but you can talk to your attorney about your defense of these charges, sir. All right, thank you. You're free to go. Good afternoon, sir. What is your name?
Maurice Price.
All right, Mr. Price, you've been charged with 1 count of driving with no insurance, $1,000. Suspended registration, $500. Violation of the Georgia Controlled Substance Act, intent to distribute, $4,000. Possession of marijuana over an ounce, $4,000. Violation of the Georgia Controlled Substance Act, Schedule 1, $4,500. Use or possession of a drug-related object, $2,000. Your total bond is $16,000. Your preliminary hearing is going to be on March 19th at 8:30 a.m. unless you bond out prior to that time. And I am appointing counsel to represent you, Mr. Price. Do you have any questions, sir?
No, I don't.
If not, you're free to go. Good afternoon, sir. What is your name? Hold on 1 second. All right, Mr. Walker, you've been charged with 1 count of driving with suspended license. That bond is $1,500.
Whoa!
Distracted driving, $500.
So
Open
driving with
container
suspended
violation,
license,
$500.
$1,500.
No insurance, $1,000. Possession of marijuana less than an ounce, $500. and drug use or possession of a drug-related object, $1,000. Your total bond is $5,500. Your preliminary hearing is going to be on March 18th at 8:30 a.m. unless you want to waive that hearing this morning, sir. And I will appoint counsel to represent you, Mr. Walker. Do you have any questions, sir?
Okay, you said my bond was 5,000.
Yes, 5,500.
Okay, that's good. That was lower than what they told me when I came, but thank you.
All right, sir. Well, you're free to go. Thank you.
He said, that's good. That's lower than what they told me.
Good morning. Huh? What was your name, sir?
Other people talking
All right,
about
Mr. Reese, you've been charged with 1 count of criminal trespass. Your bond is $1,500. You have a stay away condition to stay away from the alleged victim, Derek Redding. You're not to return to 8292 Thornhitch Drive, the incident location. Your preliminary hearing is going to be on March 18th at 8:30 a.m. unless you want to waive that hearing this morning, Mr. Reese. And I am appointing counsel to represent you, sir. Do you have any questions?
Yes, ma'am, I just buried my mom last Saturday. Me and him lived in that house together. I don't have anywhere else to go. And like I said, he wants the house to himself. He doesn't want me there. He's intending to try to sell it, but we have power of attorney. I actually left that day that he called to avoid conflict, and I slept in my truck. I came back home the other day and they picked me up. I don't understand why he didn't get arrested when we're both arguing.
Okay. Well, I was not the officer. I'm not the officer on scene, sir. The officer is not here, but I will say that this is a temporary condition. This does not prevent you from having power of attorney over the house if that is what is given to you by the will in this matter. What it is just saying that, and I'll read you the warrant so you can know what is being alleged today, Mr. Reese. I did see that you and Mr. Redding are brothers, but the warrant, which is what the officers were there to, they were the ones there, I was not, and we're not having a trial today. We're just having an, I'm just telling you what you've been charged with. So it is alleged that, hold 1 second.
She's
It
a
is
nice
alleged,
judge.
Mr. Reese, according to the warrant, that you intentionally damaged a wooden table and glass cup that were the property of Mr. Redding without his consent. You flipped over the table, which had the glass cup on it. Both the glass cup and table broke with impact, and there was damage of less than $500.
Wow.
Mr. Redding and Mr. Reese are brothers who live in the same location. So when there's allegations of violence or acts of violence, the court does stayaways. They are temporary and they can be changed once your attorney gets involved, Mr. Reese. But at this time, that is what's going to be the ruling of the court. I have no say on the power of attorney at this time. That is something that has not been invalidated. So you still have the ability to go forward and, handle your mother's affairs, you and your brother. But that is what the officer on scene made a warrant for, and that's what you're here for today.
Wow.
Any other questions, Mr. Reese?
Yeah, all that is false information. He actually lied again to the cops. How do I go about that? I mean,
I've given you counsel, Mr. Reese. So that's basically what I can do for today. You might want to talk to your attorney about getting, dealing with this matter and the defense of this matter. But that's basically where we are. Telling you what you're charged with, telling you what the warrant says, telling you what the bond is, what you have bond, and that's where we are, sir.
Wow.
Okay. How do I go about signing my bond? Am I able to sign my own bond, or can I use property?
If you have a criminal history, then this court does not do signature bonds. And unfortunately, Mr. Reese, this is not your first arrest today, so the court did not do a signature bond for today.
All right, what about property bond?
You can still do that, sir.
All right.
All right. If you have no further questions, Mr. Reese, you're free to go.
What's the difference between signature and property?
Good afternoon, sir. What's your name?
Jeremiah White.
All right, Mr. White, you've been charged with one count of brake light signal violation, $500.
He's in
And
jail
possession
for
of
that?
marijuana less than an ounce,
Oh, the
$500 for a
marijuana.
total bond of $1,000. Your preliminary
Wow.
hearing is going to be on March 18th at 8:30 a.m.
He's in jail for a brake light
You say you
and
make
marijuana.
$10,000 a month?
No, I ain't said that.
But that's
Wrong
what,
person.
okay, I think they might, maybe when you wrote it down, it says that you have a job and you make $10,000 a month. Is it $10,000 a month or is it 1,000? How much do you make per month?
Are you looking at the right person? Cause I ain't putting that down for that part on mine.
Jeremiah White?
Yeah, I ain't putting 10,000.
Okay, well, somebody put 10,000. Are you working, Mr. White? How
I
much,
work.
how much do you make per month?
Per month. I don't know. That's what I put on it. I don't even know.
Oh, that's, you know what? You put IDK.
IDK.
How much do you make per hour?
Jesus, he thought it was 10,000.
No, I mean 1950.
IDK, he said, not 10,000.
Do you work full time?
Full time, yes.
I will go ahead and appoint counsel to represent you, Mr. White. Do you have any questions, sir?
I can't get a signature line.
Let me make sure. I think you were approved for one because this looks like this is your first offense, or at least first arrest that I see on your criminal history.
First arrest, first everything.
All right, you were approved, Mr. White, so you'll get a signature bond today. Any other questions?
No, ma'am.
All right, you're free to go. Thank you. Good afternoon, sir. What's your name?
What's called $2 Junior?
All right, Mr. Wiley, you've been charged with one count of criminal trespass. Your bond is $1,500. You have a stay away condition to stay away from the 6324 Spine Road, Atlanta Airport location. Your preliminary hearing is going to be on March 18th at 8:30 a.m. unless you want to waive that hearing today, Mr. Wiley. And I did appoint counsel to represent you in this matter, sir. Do you have any questions?
Yes, I work for y'all, man. I'm signature bond.
In this case, if this is not your first arrest, we cannot give a signature bond today, sir. So you were not approved for one.
First.
All right, any other questions?
Excuse me?
Any other questions?
I said, this is my first.
All right, when I looked at the criminal history, Mr. Wiley, I saw more than one arrest. I'll look again while you're sitting in front of me though. Yeah, it's showing other arrests, sir. So, any other questions?
So this is
I
my
thank you
first
for your
one.
time.
Come out the way. Come on, go to that door.
Good afternoon.
It's all about
What's
money,
your name?
y'all. This is making me sick.
Matthew Alexander.
Everything's
All
about
right,
money.
Mr. Alexander, I'm Judge Bridgewater, and you've been charged as a fugitive from justice. It is alleged that you are wanted out of the Rockford Police, Illinois Department for homicide and that they will extradite.
Homicide.
So there's two options today, Mr.
Whoa.
Alexander, because we don't do bond for these charges in Clayton County. You can have an extradition hearing, which is not a hearing to prove your guilt or innocence to the charge in Illinois. It's just a hearing to prove that you are the person that is wanted by Illinois. That hearing will be in the next 10 to 30 days. If you
10 to
qualify
30
for counsel, we
days.
can appoint an attorney to represent you. If it's proven that you are the person that is wanted by Illinois, then Illinois will come and get you 10 to 30 days after that. However, you can waive the extradition hearing and have Illinois come and get you sooner. That hearing, if you waive extradition, they will come and get you within the next 10 to 30 days. If they do not come and get you after the 30-day mark, you should be released at that time. So those are your two options today,
It is,
Mr.
and
Alexander. Do you
Adventure
have any
is
questions?
crazy.
No.
All right, do you want to waive the extradition or do you want to have an extradition hearing?
I just want to get it over with. Y'all could do that tradition.
So you're gonna, I'm sorry, did you say you were waiving it?
Like they come and get me.
Yeah.
They want them.
So if you waive it, they're gonna come and They come and get you if you waive it within 10 to 30 days. If you decide to have an extradition hearing and you're not the person wanted, then you'll be released at that time. If you are the person that's wanted, then there's another 10 to 30 day period that starts for that. So.
Right. I'm trying to do the fastest way to get back to there.
So sounds like you want to weigh in. So, all right. No one's making you waive this today, Mr. Alexander. You're doing it freely and voluntarily?
I mean,
You can.
you know,
All right,
It's
so
all
the
the same.
question is anyone making you do this, or are you doing this freely and voluntarily?
Yeah.
You say yes, no? I'm not sure I heard a clear answer, Mr. Alexander.
Yep.
Hold on a second. You know what? I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't confused at all, but I just have to think about it for a second.
Okay, so what do you need? What do you have any questions about, Mr. Alexander? I'll try to answer them for you, sir.
Basically, if I did the first option, how would I even go about doing that? What does that even mean? The
So what
first
that
option?
means is if you have an extradition hearing, which is again, not to prove that you are guilty or anything, it just proves that you are the person that is wanted by Illinois. That hearing will be somewhere before a Superior Court judge here in Clayton County. We will do an order that will put you over to Superior Court, which is another court here in this jurisdiction. And within 10 to 30 days, they will have a hearing to prove that you are the person that is wanted by Illinois. If it is proven that you are wanted, then that 10 to 30 day period starts with Illinois has to come and get you. If it's proven that you are not the person that they want, then you will be released at that time. Again, if you qualify for counsel, we will appoint counsel to represent you. If you don't want to have an extradition hearing, if you think that these charges, for whatever reason sound familiar or not, then you can sign a waiver which says that you do not want the hearing and that Illinois will come and get you quickly, sir. That means, but it's still going to be within 10 to 30 days. And since you don't have a job, you would qualify for an attorney to represent you if you decided to have an extradition hearing.
Okay, so the extradition hearing takes, you said, about 10 to 30 days just for the hearing.
Yeah.
And then versus 15 to 30 days for them just to come out and do their thing.
Yes, so it's the period of time I can't give you a definite time, but within the next 10 to 30 days, if you have that hearing, then you will have it for another judge, and it will be within the next, again, 10 to 30 days. If you decide that you do not want that hearing, you can have Illinois come and get you. They typically come within 10 to 30 days, depending on how close the other jurisdiction is. So Illinois, I presume that they should be here, within 10 days or no more than 30. If they don't come in 30 days, sir, you should be released at that time.
Right.
Dude, tell her what you want.
Yeah, just for the hell of it. Because it's all about a time thing. We'll do the first option.
You want to have the extradition hearing?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll do I'll do an order, have you go before a judge to prove that you are the person that is wanted. And then if it is proven, then they'll come and get you 10 to 30 days after that. If you're not the person that's wanted, then you should be released at that time, sir.
Understood.
And you can also waive it later once you talk to your attorney if you decide that you have had more time to think about it and you want to do something different. But if no one's making you do it today, there's only two options because we don't do bond for these charges. So you can have the hearing or you don't have the hearing. You said you want to have the hearing, so I will do an order to bond you over, and then that process will get started, sir. Do you have any other questions, Mr. Alexander?
Over?
All right, thank you. You're free to go.
And that'll be all Judge Summer.
All right, that's it.
Yes, he's not waiving today, so I'll do the order and we'll get that process started. Are there any other persons that are waiting?
No.
All right, thank you. Court's adjourned. Everyone have a great day.
All right, court's over with, y'all. Whew, Lord Jesus. Oh, y'all, I think you guys had enough of this court stuff. Do you guys have enough of it? I was trying to see if Connecticut had something going on. I like Connecticut doing theirs. Angel said, see, sir, if you someone, you got to stay in jail anyway. Yeah. The way he's acting, it was kind of weird. He was asking about the timing and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh, really, dude? Really, dude? It's about the timing. All right. All right, let's see what you said. Let's go back to Clayton County.
August 21st.
Clayton
I'm sorry,
County.
August 31st.
This
of
is the place where I
2023.
have
And this one was
my case
Henry.
is it.
So
Okay.
Robinson took Robinson wrote probably that one.
Okay, so now Miss Daniels alleges that she was contacted at a later date. Miss Powell, could you share that for me, please? So, Mr. Officer Rollins, is this your attempt to contact Miss Daniels to get her to come back in to get the citation for the DUI?
Yes.
Okay, so do you know what date this was?
It looks like September 10th at 3:49.
Okay, and the citation that you were going to give her on that date was for the DUI?
That I'm not sure. That's why I said if I can go on Brazos, I'll see exact times and I can tell you when that citation was issued and also what the reasoning behind it was. I don't know why I wouldn't have given her the citation the same day.
Okay, but you do believe that you did call her back in to give her a citation that would have originated on the August 31st arrest?
I believe so.
All right, anything else, Miss? You can take that down, Miss Powell. Anything else, Miss Hagler? Okay, you're muted.
Your Honor. 1 second, I got a few minutes. Please, thank you.
This is like, he doesn't even remember if he filled out the paperwork and then the next day, Lord have mercy, this is such a, hold on, yeah, hold on. Hello? That one, I don't want that picture, sir. I want one that you look nice, that I could put up on my notification. A face shot, sir. All right. Yes, with your face on it, sir. Woody, look, sir, I need your picture so I can have you for tomorrow. Just give me a decent picture. Fine, give me a good picture, sir. I need one by yourself. Sir. You want me to go Instagram? I want a picture from you. Lord have mercy, Jesus. You doing too much. I got my people watch.
Your Honor?
Okay.
Are you able to hear me?
Officer Rollins, one second, please, Officer
Eyeball.
Rollins.
I didn't get an eyeball.
Thank you.
You gonna give me an eyeball tonight?
All right, Ms. Hagler, I have another hearing, so let's keep it moving.
Hold on, let me see. Hold on. Yeah, but it's not showing your face. I need a face picture. You want me to zoom in? Oh my Lord. I don't want nothing with your shirt off. Never mind. You being difficult, sir. You being difficult.
Ron, I'm still working on the video. 1 second, please.
Much better. I like that one. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And I'll see you tomorrow. No, I see you tonight. Anyway, see you tonight. All right, bye. Sorry, guys. That was Mr. Kenneth Copeland. That was Mr. Kenneth Copeland. I asked him to send me a picture, y'all. This man is sending me a picture of Charleston White. What's wrong with him? And I'm gonna get my eyeball tonight. He's giving out eyeballs. Oh Lord. Okay. Sorry, good people. He's gonna be on my live tomorrow. Yeah, I told you guys. So we're gonna do a special birthday. Oh, tonight, y'all. Tonight I will be on what the F WTF with Kayla and Miss Jefferson and Mel. I'll be on there tonight. Bringing information update on from the Jackie Johnson case. I'm going to go over there. You guys come and visit me over there. I'm going over there with them. All right. I won't be popping in till late because, I got choir rehearsal today, guys. I got choir rehearsal. I'll be going to choir rehearsal. I'm joining a choir. I'm going to do a solo. I've been busy, y'all. I've been busy. Yes, VK, I'm going to be singing. I'm going to be singing. I'm going to be singing for Jesus. Hallelujah. And don't be jumping off the live now because y'all hear me singing. Don't be jumping off. You're supposed to come. More people are supposed to come inside the live since I'm singing. Don't be laughing either. Oh, look at them jumping off. You haters. They jumping off. Haters. Haterades. That's okay. That's okay. When I get my record deal, don't come and ask me for my autograph, okay? Don't ask me for my autograph when I get my record deal. Today is Miss New Orleans' birthday. Miss New Orleans today is the 19th. It's her birthday. Happy birthday, Miss New Orleans. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Okay, while they're not ready yet. Let's do the birthday song. Hold on, y'all. Let's do the birthday song. And if they come on, I'll stop it. All right. Birthday song for the birthday people. Here we go, y'all. Intermission.
February babies are extra special because they bring even more light to this time of year. Happy birthday to February babies who make the winter months a little brighter. May your day be filled with love and joy. Forget the past. Look forward to the future, for the best things are yet to come. Birthdays are a new start, a fresh beginning, and a time to pursue new endeavors.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. I'm about to share my
So,
voice.
Ms. Hagler, based on the testimony of the officer, and the fact that he, as per the allegations in the motion to suppress, she was arrested on a failure to maintain lane, was not arrested on the DUI. She did not receive a DUI citation until September 9th or 10th, several days after she was arrested for failure to maintain lane and the fields were allegedly conducted. So at this time, the court is going to grant the defendant's motion to suppress.
Well, Your Honor, we also have a copy of the affidavit I was going to pull up for the court.
I'm going to grant the motion to suppress. And it will suppress all of the field sobriety exercises and any tests that were done subsequent to the field sobriety exercises.
Thank you,
All
Judge
right, next hearing.
Your Honor,
Thank you, Judge.
Ms. Daniels, your motion has been granted. If y'all disagree with me, file something.
Your Honor, if we can just perfect the record.
No.
The state has an opportunity to make argument and to be able to close on argument. The state has video evidence of the actual arrest when Officer Rollins placed the defendant under arrest. We also have the warrantless affidavit, which was filed by the officer, and the arrest booking report where he arrested her for a DUI. He informed the defendant that she was being arrested for a DUI less safe and failure to maintain lane. And in addition, Your Honor, if the court looks at the citation, one was written by Robinson, handwritten, and then one was given by Rollins, which was actually typed. It's the state's argument that, in fact, the defendant was made aware what she was arrested for. She received bond conditions for a DUI less safe and failure to maintain lane, and she was giving a citation from the officers for, on this particular incident. Based on what we reviewed on the video, Officer Rollins did inform the defendant that she would be under arrest for a DUI less safe. And also, I believe that Officer, if I'm not mistaken, Robinson had already issued the citation for failure to maintain lane. That's based upon what we reviewed on our end, Your Honor. And I just wanted to put that on the record, just if there's any appeal purposes.
That's fine. If y'all want to appeal my decision, I'm okay with it. But at this time, the court finds that the irregularities are overwhelming, and I'm going to suppress the fields and anything that came from any tests that were conducted.
Thank you, Judge.
So, Ms. Daniel, I've granted your motion to suppress.
I remember her name.
Failure to maintain lane will remain, and we can determine what you wish to do with your case. It'll be put on a trial calendar. All right. Thank you, ma'am. All right. Next, Williams.
This judge elect, she don't play with these people.
Yes.
We are ready to go forward on Ms. Williams. The state did.
I'm ready to.
Offer, which I believe we're going to reject, but if I could just get a very quick breakout room, be less than 3 minutes, just to make sure that that is her intention to reject that new offer that the state made, because I don't want to.
All right. Is this Miss Amanda Williams?
Yes, Judge.
All right. So I'm putting the courtroom and Miss Williams in breakout room number 4.
Look at her little head thing, y'all.
Your Honor, hey, how you doing this morning, first off, Judge?
I'm sorry, who's talking?
It's ASG Tipton. How you doing today?
I'm good, Mr. Tipton.
Hey, Your Honor. So I am actually going to be handling this motion today. Would it be
Williams?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
If Ms. Williams does not take the state's amended offer, may I be placed very briefly in a breakout room with Miss Jessica Morris?
Okay, hold on. So I'm trying to put Miss Williams in a breakout room. Miss Williams, are you wearing ears?
Yeah, they're my work headphones.
Okay, so I'm trying to put you in a breakout room. It should flash up on your screen an invitation to the breakout room. Do you see that?
I hit join. It's not on there now. I did hit join. And
Reactivate your
taking
screen.
me out back to main room.
Try to reactivate your screen.
Are
Do you
you
have a
wearing
cursor
ears?
or do you have touch screen?
Touch.
Okay. Do you see it now? No, okay, hold on. I'm gonna move you to courtroom number 5. I'm gonna move the courtroom.
Did they remove?
I'm sorry, move you to
They-
breakout room
they-
number 5. I'm gonna
They,
move to courtroom
they,
number 5.
was up the earbud. Oh
Um,
no, it's back.
And Mr. Tipton, I'm gonna put you in breakout room number 3. Miss Morris, well, I'm sorry, put you in breakout room number 1. Miss Morris will be in breakout room number 1.
And Your Honor, could you also put our victim advocate in there, Miss Hemphill, just since we got our victim in there?
Yes, Miss Hemphill. And
Bless you,
Mr.
Judge.
Tipton, I'm gonna put you in breakout room number 1.
Bless you, Judge.
Hey,
Thank you,
Your
Your
Honor,
Honor.
briefly while we're waiting, I just want to see if there's anything else on the calendar that we're waiting on, or is just the
I
Williams
don't
case.
believe so, but let me go through. Our
Okay.
Sala is gonna be on an arraignment calendar, and we're gonna get an Afghani interpreter. Blake is closed, Kyler is closed, Daniels, the court just ruled on. Dawson is withdrawn. Dixon is continued by consent. Huff, Jones, Saunders withdrawn. Tucker is closed. Vega Arteaga was withdrawn by the state, and Williams is the only case remaining.
Okay, that's what
All
I
right,
have.
I'm-
So much, Your Honor.
All right, when everybody gets out of the breakout room, we'll be ready to go forward. I'll
Auntie,
see
you in
I'm
here?
coming off camera for right now.
CMT, I need
Thank
your
you.
help on something. I really, 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 really need your help. And you digging me. And who else? Looking for my research people. Probably Stephanie too. Yeah, I need to do a little breakout room for y'all. A breakout room. Mimi, I may need your. Where Deanna? Is Deanna in here? May need a breakout room for y'all. I need your assistance in something. I need your assistance. It's work. And I know you guys love work. I know you guys love work. Love work. They on the okay, I'm gonna go back to doing this song again. Cause they forgot to put her in the breakout room. You look at her, they got her on our main screen. They got her on the main screen, y'all. She's supposed to be in the breakout room. Okay, what did the Amazon just send me? They sent me a reminder email. What did they reminded me about?
breakout room with Tiffany.
They still not doing anything. I had to go downstairs for a second. They're still not doing anything. Still quiet. Lord have mercy. Nothing is happening, huh? All right.
We are ready to proceed. Just make sure that.
All right, I'm ready to go forward. Ms. Hagler, if you could tell Mr. Tipton, I'm ready to move forward.
Okay, I believe he is talking to the, but I will
All right,
walk.
Mr.
Oh, there he
Tipton,
is.
are we ready?
Yes, Your Honor, we are ready.
All right, this is State of Georgia versus, Amanda Williams, 2023 CR 05711. Ms. Williams is charged with battery by provocation and simple battery. Ms. Williams has filed a motion for immunity from prosecution. She's represented by the law firm of Lister, Holt, and Dennis. Mr. Owen Lynch is representing Ms. Williams. The state is represented by Mr. William Tipton. Mr. Tipton, we're before the court for the immunity. Are you all ready to go forward?
State is ready, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Lynch.
Yes, Your Honor. Defense would call Miss Amanda Williams.
All right, Ms. Williams, raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
I do.
All right, so you can put your hand down. So Ms. Williams, you have a right under the Constitution of the United States to, under the Fifth Amendment, to not incriminate yourself. That means you do not have to give any evidence or testimony against yourself. So you are not required and nobody can make you testify. Do you understand that by testifying, you're giving up your right to remain silent?
I do.
Have you talked with your attorney? Don't tell me what you discussed, but have you had the opportunity to consult with your attorney about what this means?
I have.
All right. And you, are you voluntarily giving up your right to remain silent and offering testimony in this case?
I am.
I like
and
this
you're
judge.
aware that any testimony that you use in this case can be used, that you give in this case can be used against you by any any party prosecuting an offense against you.
Correct.
All right. All right, Mr. Lynch, your witness.
Miss Williams, could you state your, well, you've stated your name for the record. How old are you?
I'm 45.
And how are you currently employed?
I work full-time in property management.
Okay. So I want to direct your attention to, well, let me ask you this. Do you know Jessica Morris?
I do.
And I'm not sure if there's a way to turn up your volume or
Yeah, I think so.
or maybe just move the mic slightly.
Miss Martin, can you hear?
Is this better?
Yeah, that's better. That's
much better.
Okay.
All right, thank you,
Okay.
Ms. Martin.
Can you describe to the court how you first met Miss Morris and the nature of your relationship?
I hired her to work for me as a team member while I was the general manager of Sonic and Conyers.
Oh, Sonics and Conyers.
Okay. And after you
that
hired
is.
her, did you, well, tell me about how your relationship progressed and
Well,
what
I
kind of
found
interactions you had with Miss Morris.
I found Jessica to be an articulate, bright, good girl, a good student, very smart and promising. She was a hard worker, and I became very fond of her and concerned with her well-being.
So at that point, you were working with her at Sonics, right?
Correct.
Did there come a time when Miss Morris lived with you?
Yes, there was.
I'm sorry, when Miss Morris, what? Because I couldn't hear the last word you said, Mr. Lynch.
When Miss Morris began to reside in Miss Williams' home, I'm asking when
Okay.
that first occurred.
Jessica was right at graduating her senior year, and she came to live with Greg and I at that time because she was homeless and had a broken leg.
Okay. And you said she came to live with Greg and I. Who are you referring to by Greg?
Greg Cook.
And who is Greg Cook to you?
He was my partner for 10 years.
And
Partner?
when Miss Morris lived with you the first time, Mr. Cook lived there as well the entire time.
Correct.
Who else lived in the
Something
house?
sounds weird.
My son and my stepdaughter and my stepson.
Got a
Okay.
full house.
Um,
How many bedrooms?
Now, on the first period of time where Miss Morris lived with you, can you tell the court how that period of residence ended?
Well, Miss Morris, after she graduated, I took her to her graduation and got her cast off because she broke her leg. So we got her a cast to put on it. She began looking at colleges. And so I was taking her around and doing applications, visiting colleges. She wanted to be a CSI investigator, which I thought would be really good for her. It took a little bit of a turn. She started seeing someone and started kind of like, maybe I won't go to college. And so I told her, I said, well, you're going to have to make money somehow, and took her under my wing and showed her how to run restaurants so she could at least support herself. After she got pretty darn good at it, where I felt she would be competent, she moved to Ohio with our blessings and good tidings.
Okay. And when she moved to Ohio, were the skills that you taught her about working in restaurants, was there an opportunity in Ohio for her to use those skills? And did you have any involvement in procuring that opportunity for Miss Morris?
Yes, she had applied to work at a Sonic there as in management. It would have been her first management position. And I gave her a glowing recommendation for that job.
Okay. Now, after Miss Morris left your household and moved to Ohio, did she ever return to live with you?
She did.
Can you explain to the court the circumstances of her return?
She had called me, and we weren't talking as much as, we probably could have. Life goes on, and she had told me that she had been physically assaulted twice in 1 week, that she was homeless, that things were not good for her. And I was like, why are you staying there? Just why don't you come back here? Or you go to, Missouri, Mississippi, somewhere where you know someone who can help. And it was a very awkward conversation, as it was very hard for me to keep her focused and on track with the actual conversation that we were having. We spoke about 3 times, and on that third call, she said, okay, I'm going to come. I'm going to live at my dad's house. And I said, you know what? You can work with me. Where I'm running a skating rink in Stockbridge, which isn't too far from your dad's. You can come work for me. I'll give you a job. I was currently at that time, the day she arrived in Oklahoma, saying goodbye to my dad, who was passing in hospice of cancer. The day that she arrived. So she called me at 4 a.m. and explained to me that her dad was not going to let her in the house. And I told her I was in Oklahoma saying goodbye to my dad, and that she would need to call Greg if she needed some assistance because he's back in Georgia. And I went to sleep.
Okay. Did you and Greg have any discussions about, whether it would be okay for Miss Morris to come live with you again?
Greg and I did not.
Okay. But ultimately, did Miss Morris come to live with you again?
When I returned home the next day, she was there and I was like, hello, how's it going? And he was like, we'll see. And apparently Greg had told her that as long as she works and, you know, that she could stay, that we would never put her out, that she has always had family with us. And
Objection, Your Honor. This is hearsay at this point.
well, he was saying it to me. Apologies.
I'm sorry. So you were, that's fine. We can move on to the next question. Okay, so now she's back living with you in your house with your husband and your child. Was anyone else living there?
Is
My two children were still living there.
Okay.
My stepdaughter, my stepson.
Did you notice any changes in Miss Morris's behavior compared to the way you had known her to be prior to that?
Absolutely.
Can you explain that to the court?
Where I had found her to be bubbly and funny and, you know, hardworking and great to a good conversationalist, all of that was gone. We would directly say, Jessica, Jay, and nothing would be reason why she couldn't hear us, but she would not respond. She just sat in the yard on a rock and stared into the streets for 6, 8, 12 hours at a time.
Whoa.
And would not respond to us speaking to her.
Whoa.
Okay. Was she working at that time?
I had given her the job at with me, but that did not work out. The first day, she went outside and sat down and got on her phone and proceeded to make phone calls and just did not come back in for hours. I lost her for hours. She's behind our building.
Okay. So at this point, I want to turn your attention to March 30th of 2022, the incident that we're here about. Do you remember that day?
I do. It was my birthday.
Okay. Now, I want you to explain to the court. Well, let me ask you this. Did you and Miss Morris have any kind of a verbal argument that morning?
She attempted to argue with me. I turned to walk away. I do not do arguing.
Okay. Tell me about the nature of what was discussed prior to any physical contact that happened. Tell me about what was discussed and what any disagreement there may have been.
I woke up, got dressed, ready for work. When she was supposed to do her second day, she had gone back to Sonic, right down the street from my current job. So it was time for me to go. And I walked outside. I set my purse down on the porch and walked outside and asked her if she needed a ride. She didn't have a car or anything, and I was headed that way. And asked her if she needed a ride to work, and she was unresponsive and angry. I felt she was angry, and I was like, what's wrong? And she said that I was manipulating her, and I'm like, how so? She told me that by paying her phone bill instead of driving her around to make the money to pay her own phone bill, that I was attempting to manipulate her. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. She began yelling and telling me how sick and tired she was of people manipulating her and using her. And I told her, no, ma'am, we are not going to do this. And I turned to walk away, and she starts pulling at her hair and slapping herself in the forehead.
Oh my God.
And I said, this isn't going to work. You're going to need to find somewhere else to go. And I went to go to the porch to get my purse and leave.
Okay.
She was
so
slapping.
After you said this isn't working, you're going to have to find some place to go. You indicated that you walked away. Where did you walk?
I was going to the front porch to retrieve my purse and keys so that I could go to work.
Okay. And what happened next?
She continued to yell at me. I I was almost to the front door when I realized that she was not only yelling at me, that she was approaching my backside very quickly. And so my son does what he does every day and opens the door to tell me goodbye. And I turned and put my son at my rear and stepped backwards into my door. About that time, I went to go shut the door. She was within an arm's reach of me, and I pushed her backwards and attempted to shut the door, but I never got the door completely shut before she pushed through very hard enough to knock me off my feet and onto my back, where she got on top of me and began hitting me and leaving me unable to defend myself or my son.
Okay, and so all this happened in front of your son?
Yes.
Okay, and before you pushed her, can you tell the court again well, let me ask you this. What were you thinking when she was approaching you in that manner?
I was thinking that I had to protect me and my son because I did not know what she was going to do, and I was afraid.
And prior to that, you mentioned that you had seen her hitting herself?
Yes.
And she was cursing at you?
Mm-hmm.
And
you can't say mm-hmm or mm-mm.
Yes,
You
yes,
have to
ma'am,
say
she
yes.
was. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry
and
about
that was
that.
immediately before she approached you rapidly in an aggressive manner. Is that fair to say?
That is fair to say.
Okay. So you testified that you attempted to push her back. Was that, yeah, is that a yes?
Yes, that is correct.
But afterwards, you're telling the court she still ended up on top of you?
I did not have enough momentum to push her back so that I could slam the door and lock it.
Okay. And she struck you multiple times in front of your child?
She did.
Now, how did she eventually get off of you?
She was screaming for Desiree to come downstairs. Once Desiree, my stepdaughter, came downstairs, she realized, I said, Desiree, I was talking calm. I said, Desiree, get Ethan and take him out of the room. Get Ethan and take him out of the room. And then I started talking to Jessica, who I normally call Jay, but I started calling her full name. I was like, Jessica, stop. You need to stop. And I said, okay, I'm going to get up now. And I rolled over onto my knees and stood up with her on my back.
She stood up with her on her back.
It wasn't easy. It took many attempts.
And at some point, well, how did you eventually get physically disconnected from Ms. Morris?
I think that once I was able to get almost all the way up, she stopped hitting me and let go.
Okay. And what happened after that?
She started yelling and screaming at us, telling us that, cussing at me, saying, B, you're going to go to jail. I'm going to make sure you go to jail.
Whatever.
And then,
did you see him teach us all black people look alike?
Then started, I said, you need to leave. You need to go outside. You need to get out of my home. She went outside and began putting us on Facebook Live, screaming at all of the neighbors that these white honkies and like trying to get everyone's attention. I'm going on for probably 10 minutes about how we hate ends.
Wow.
At some point, did your then partner, did he return?
He did. His daughter had reached out to him and called and said that he needed to come home immediately.
Okay. And after Mr. Cook, right?
Mr. Cook.
After he returned home, did you go anywhere?
Yes. Once I knew that someone was there that could protect my son, I removed myself from the threat and the situation and went to work. And I called my boss and let him know that I was going to be a few minutes behind, that I needed to pull over and calm down and collect myself.
Okay. Ms. Williams, you stated that, well, let me answer this. How did the behavior of Ms. Morris influence how you acted when she approached you?
She was erratic, completely out of character, not her normal self. I've never seen her behave that way. She was aggressive, and I reacted the way any person in their right mind would react when they felt threatened and they needed to protect their child. I defended myself.
Were you afraid that you might be injured by Ms. Morris?
Yes, but I was more afraid that my son would be.
Okay. No further questions.
Mr. Tipton,
Yes, Your Honor.
cross-examination,
Yes, Your Honor.
go ahead.
Hey, Ms. Williams, how you doing today?
I'm well, thank you.
Okay. So, Miss Williams, I want to ask a couple questions about what happened, okay? So, could you explain to me where you live or where you lived at the time, and like what kind of building was it? Was it an apartment? Was it a house?
We lived in Clayton County off of Maddox Road in a split level home.
Okay, so it was a house.
Correct.
Okay. And was it a big house? Was there a big backyard? Tell me about it.
It's a corner house. I wouldn't consider it to be large by my standards.
Okay.
Medium size house.
Okay. and
Older.
Okay. And you mentioned you had a verbal argument that morning. Is that correct?
Incorrect. I said she attempted to have a verbal argument with me, and I told her I will not argue with you.
Okay. And you continue, and you said she was pulling her hair and slapping her forehead, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask Miss Williams, do you consider yourself a truthful person?
I do.
Are you familiar with the term prim and falsi?
I have no idea what that means.
Okay, well, let me point to you like this. Have you ever been arrested for fraud?
I have.
Mm-hmm. How many times?
I was arrested one time on fraud.
Okay, but were you charged with fraud multiple times?
I was charged with fraud multiple times.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Was
I'm gonna
arrested
object
and
at this point, Judge. If the state wants to introduce convictions, they can, but they don't have a right to question my client about the underlying facts of the case.
Okay, understood.
Mr. Tipton,
Your Honor, we're talking about the defendant's character of truthfulness in here. Now,
all right, and unless you have certified convictions, you've gone about as far with the underlying facts as you need to.
understood. So you mentioned that Miss Morris had been hitting her head and pulling her hair.
she was slapping her head and pulling on her hair and hitting herself in the head.
Mm-hmm. And was that the only time she hit her head?
The only time I witnessed her hit her head is the time that I told you about, sir.
And when you pushed her away, what did you push her away with?
My hand.
Okay. And what part of her body did you push away?
I have no idea, to be honest,
Okay.
because I was shutting the door at the exact same time, including my arm in the door.
Okay. Did you have any mark on your arm?
I did have marks.
Did you show that to the police?
The police never came and spoke with me. They never came to take pictures. I never stood in front of any police officers.
Hmm.
Not that I can recall. It's been a few years now.
Okay, though.
What she's being charged with?
And so when you saw Jessica, was she bleeding?
She was bleeding.
Where was she bleeding from?
I only seen her with one eye because it was on me. So I'm not sure where, I'm not a nurse. I don't know where the blood was coming from.
I'm sorry, what was on you, ma'am?
I had her blood was where she had been on top of me was on my face. I can tell you that. It was on my face
Mm.
because I couldn't wipe my hands. I couldn't wipe my face or anything because she had me by my arms.
That got that bad with blood?
Understood.
I was pinned.
You were pinned, but you pushed her away?
She had pinned me and was hitting me. She had one of my arms pinned and was hitting me with the other hand.
Okay, but you just stated that you closed the door on her.
I attempted to close the door on her.
And you closed the door on her and yourself, is what you just told me. And you had a mark on your arm as a result of closing the door on her.
I told you that I attempted to push her away while closing the door. Not only on her, but on myself even. I was trying to get the door shut, which I was unsuccessful at, is what I said.
On herself too?
Okay, but
Because the door never got shut all the way before she came through it and knocked me off of my feet.
I'm confused.
So when you saw her running towards you, how far away was she initially?
Multiple car lengths.
Okay.
When I walked away from her. She was at the end of my driveway when I walked away from her.
Okay, so she wasn't inside the house. She was inside, she was at the end of the driveway?
When I walked away from her before any physical contact, when I told her I'm not going to argue with you, and I turned to walk away, we were having that conversation at the end of my driveway.
Okay, but earlier you stated that
she said she closed her
that
arm.
happened, time passed, and you went and got ready for work. And then the incident again happened when you.
I'm going to object to Mr. Tipton completely mischaracterizing the testimony and putting words in my client's mouth.
Mr. Tipton, you're restating facts not in evidence. As the court recalls, she testified that she got ready for work. She came outside. She put her purse on the porch. Once she put her purse on the porch was when she and Miss Morris engaged in a conversation. So we're past the point where she was getting dressed.
Oh, okay. That was my apologies, Your Honor. I misunderstood what she'd said earlier. I have no further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
All right. Any follow-up, Mr. Lynch?
Just real quick. Ms. Williams, you took an oath to testify truthfully today, did you not?
I did.
Do you take that seriously?
I do. I've had no bad conduct, an upstanding citizen, and I take that seriously as well.
And Mr. Tipton alluded to some legal troubles that you had in the past. How long ago were you arrested for the offense that he mentioned?
20 years.
Okay.
20 years.
Okay. Have you been arrested for anything violent?
Never.
Okay. Thank you. No further questions for Ms. Williams at this time.
All right. Anything else from the state?
Well, from the defense, Your Honor, I do have another witness. I'm Gregory Michael Cook in the, oh, I'm sorry.
Focus. I got it. You just asked her questions. They have the right, if they wish, within the scope to follow up. Are there any other questions at this time for Ms. Williams, Mr. Tipton?
No, Your Honor.
All right. So, Ms. Williams, you may be excused. You stay on. You continue to watch. Just mute your device. The defense has another witness to call.
Yes. I would call Gregory Michael Cook.
He's funny.
All right. Is Mr. Cook in court?
He's in the courtroom.
All right. Come on up, Mr. Cook.
And I hadn't done one of these hearings in this way, so I guess he just got to stand next to me. I don't know any other.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Come on out, Mr. Cook, a little bit closer, because of the limitations of the audio visual system, and you're speaking directly into the computer. Okay.
Okay.
Hey,
all right. Raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You can put your hand down, Mr. Lynch. Your witness.
Mr. Cook, how do you know Ms. Williams?
She is my
ex-girlfriend, ex-fiance.
Ex-girlfriend, is
How
the
long
ex.
did you live with her?
10 years.
When you lived with her, was there a period where Jessica Morris lived with you guys?
Two different periods of time, yes.
Okay. And during that first period of time, was everything okay as far as her living there? Was she able to, do what she needed to do to have y'all's approval to live there?
Yeah, she was a great person. She was very energetic, very upbeat person when the first time she lived with us.
Okay. I want you to tell me about any differences that you observed in the way Miss Morris behaved in your household on the
Most
second
likely she
time.
gonna come up and give her side,
She
right?
was more withdrawn. She kept to herself a lot. She didn't want to be part of anything like she did the first time. We tried to offer her help. It seemed like she would rather do it on her own than accept our help, and which I was okay with. This was fine. If that's what you want to do, it's what you want to do. It just seemed like she was a little more off-putting the second time.
Okay. Were you aware of any ways in which Miss Williams attempted to help Miss Morris?
He wasn't there.
Yeah.
For
She
the
tried to
fake.
get her jobs. She tried to help her out financially. We tried to help her out financially any way we could, and give her opportunities, take her where she needed to go. I mean, unless we were ill or didn't feel good that day, then yeah, we did everything we could to make sure that she had transportation and that we could get her wherever she wanted to go.
Did you witness any times when Miss Morris would express anger or resentment of Miss Williams during that second time she lived with you?
She was a kid.
There might have been some.
She
weird
was like a
stuff,
teenager or something like that.
but
Then she graduated.
it might have been some resentment between the two of them. I'm not really 100% sure what happened after that, but Miss Morris just didn't seem like the same person anymore. She just, I guess, something happened in Ohio that she decided that was going to continue her. I'm not even sure how to. put this.
Speculation, sir.
We'll try to.
Speculation.
What was the question again? I want to try and give a proper answer.
Well, you know what? We can move on. Let's turn our attention to. No, you're fine. March 30th, 2022.
Okay.
The day that we're here about. Do you recall that?
That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
At some point, did you receive a call asking?
Mr. Lynch.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry to interrupt. So this hasn't come up and this is bugging me. So what was the length of time between the first time she resided with them and the second time? Like how much time passed?
I could recall Miss Williams to answer that question.
God, they don't know the answer.
Right there.
Mr. Cook, can you tell the court about how much time had elapsed between the time when she moved out and she moved back in?
She was a high school senior graduating when she was the first time. And the second time, I believe she was at least 21 or 22. So maybe 3 years, 2.5, 3 years.
Wait a minute.
And that's just.
She's 22.
recollection.
That would have been
I'm
more
not
than that,
100% sure
y'all.
That's true.
She was.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Did you have any other questions at this time, Your Honor?
That's about 5 years.
Thank you. And so did you receive a call asking you to return to the residence on March, or to come to the residence on March 30th of 2022?
Yes, I did.
Who called you?
My daughter, Desiree.
And what did she tell you?
That Amanda and Jay were getting into a fight and then I needed to come home.
Okay. When you came home, did you have an opportunity to observe Miss Morris?
Yes, Miss Morris was still at what Miss Amanda said, Miss Morris was at the end of the driveway when I arrived.
Okay, what was she doing?
She was sitting there. At the time, she was still yelling obscenities, screaming obscenities towards the house. I think they were mostly made towards Miss Amanda. She was being very, she was angry. She was very upset. She was just a lot of obscenities towards the house. Okay. And at that point, when you got there, did Miss Williams remain at the house? No, when I got there, like I said, Miss Morris was at the end of the driveway. I talked to Miss Williams. She was in her car on the side road. I talked to Miss Williams. Miss Williams said, if everything is okay, if you got everything from here on, I need to go to work. I said, that's fine. I can take care of it from here, no problem. Miss Williams took off. And
So
I
he
said,
didn't
"Go
really
away."
see anything.
And did Miss Williams tell you what happened as far as the physical altercation between her and Miss Morris? Yes. Can you tell me what Miss Williams told you about it? Miss Morris was out in the street, yelling and screaming obscenities. Miss Williams went out there to talk to her to try and calm her down, get her to settle down. I don't
It's a different
know
story.
what happened at that point, but I do know that Miss Williams said that she wasn't going the way that that she was hoping it would go.
It's
So
a
she was
different
walking
story,
away.
y'all.
By the time she got to the steps, she heard commotion behind her. She turned around to see Miss Morris charging at her. From what I understand, they might have collided there. I'm not 100% sure. I wasn't there, so I don't know. But Miss Morris ended up on top of Miss Williams, and I guess she saw Ethan or something, decided to stop and got up. Okay. No further questions.
Thanks, Mel.
That's fine.
You muted, Judge. You muted, Judge.
Cross-examination, Mr. Tipton?
Very brief, Your Honor. So, Mr. Cook, I just want to make sure I understand. So you weren't there during any of this, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And everything you heard was from Miss Williams, is that correct?
Miss Williams and my daughter, Desiree.
Okay. Did you at any point in time speak to the police?
I did.
Okay. And what did you tell the police happened?
I told the police that they got into a misunderstanding and that I was under the impression that Miss Williams wanted Miss Morris out of the house. I agreed with Miss Williams because of the situation that I was told, and I wanted my family to be safe. So I agreed that Miss Morris should leave the place where the residence where we were at, and I had a conversation with the police at that time.
How long were the police there?
I'm sorry?
How long were the police there?
The police were there for a good amount of time, probably 30, 45 minutes, maybe an hour.
Was Miss Williams present at all when the police were there?
I do not believe so.
Okay. No further questions.
I got a question. So when the police were there, what happened with Miss Morris?
She calmed way down. Her screaming and yelling, it quit. She stopped screaming and yelling. She started acting a lot more appropriately.
Okay, did she leave at any point?
Eventually, she did. I offered to take her to the train station, a bus station. I offered to take her to a hotel, put her in a room. She did not want any of that. The police told me that I was legally obligated to have to let her back into my house because I told her she could stay at my house. And I said, that's fine. I said, Jessica, you want to stay here? You can come on in. At that time, she asked for all her stuff. I grabbed what I could see that was hers. I put it next to her. I believe the police left like 15 minutes later, and then maybe 5 or 10 minutes after that, somebody came and picked up Miss Morris.
Oh, so she left.
Okay.
That doesn't make sense. If somebody's fighting, why would you?
All right, thank you. Any follow-up
He's up.
from the state? Anything from the defense?
No, Your Honor, none from the state.
All right, Mr. Lynch.
I don't have any further witnesses, Judge.
All right, Mr. Cook, you can remain in the courtroom if you wish, but you're excused otherwise. All right, so does the state have witnesses to present in this case?
Yes, Your Honor. The state would like to call Jessica Morris to the Zoom
Okay,
call.
there she is, y'all.
All right, Morris, can you show your video?
Here she come, y'all.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, she like
All
a
right.
man.
So Ms. Morris, raise your right hand for
Like
me.
a man. Sorry.
Solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can put your hand down. Mr. Tipton, your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Morris, please state your name for the court reporter.
Jessica Deshawn Morris.
Okay. And Ms. Morris, how are you familiar with Miss Amanda Williams?
We originally met during my senior year, working at Sonic in Conyers, Georgia. I was already working there at the time when she first started working there. She was hired to be I think, assistant manager or general manager. We got very close during that time frame. And from there, eventually I started having problems at home with my, dad and stepmom. I broke my ankle, didn't have insurance. She was nice enough to set up a GoFundMe for me to like get a cast and things like that, since I was still in school and I couldn't work.
Okay. Did you end up living with Miss Williams?
Yes, sir. Shortly after, I'd say maybe about a month after setting up the GoFundMe account, that did not sit well with my parents. Well, when I say my parents, I mean my stepmom and my dad. They wanted me to tell her to cash out the GoFundMe account because they had bills to pay. That turned into a huge argument between us, and they ended up kicking me out with a broken ankle. Had nowhere to go. Stayed with a friend for a little bit, and then eventually stayed with Amanda. Invited me to live with her in Morrow at the time. I was in like actual Conyers, and she lived in Morrow.
Did you live with her in 2022 at all?
I believe it was 2020. Yes, it was 2022. Yes.
Okay. I want to draw your attention to March the 30th of 2022. Do you recall that day?
Yes.
Okay. Could you walk me through what happened?
The points of that day that I specifically remember was me starting my day off like I normally was doing. At that time, I was sitting outside on like the green electrical box thing or whatever it is that sits in some of the yards. I spent most of my time there. I was on the phone, FaceTime actually, with my friend from Ohio. We spent a lot of time on the phone together, of course. So I was talking with her, and I remember just telling her how I had a bad feeling about the day. I was supposed to be going to work at Sonic, and I believe Amanda was still working at like Starlight or something it's called, a skating rink that she worked at. And I remember telling my friend that I don't think I'm gonna have her give me a ride to work. My friend, of course, asked me why. I told her I didn't have a good feeling about it. And once Amanda came out of the house, at this point, of course, I'm still in the yard. She's at the door telling me, "Come on, Jay, let's go." Which, of course, my nickname is Jay. Let's go to work. I told her, no, I'm not getting in the car with you. I don't want to go with you. She told me to get in the car again. I again said no. And then from there, I believe she went in the house for a moment, came back out, and told me to get my belongings and get out, which at this point, again, I'm still outside. And I tell her that I don't have to leave. I knew this was going to happen. Greg told me to, if anything were to go down between the two of us, like words being said or anything like that, and she was trying to put me out, to just let him know or give him a call or something like that. He wasn't going to let her, put me out, because of course, during the time that she was, gone, we had, spoke about her, things like that. So he kind of already knew, hey, Amanda's not that great, whatever. And he said, just basically said all that. I told her that. I guess that upset her. I don't know. She went back in the house for a minute, came back out, told me again to get my stuff and get out. At this point, I'm still on the phone outside with my friend, and she says to just let it go. I can just figure out how to get back to Ohio, get a bus ticket or something like that, and come back to live in Ohio with her. So I got off the green box, started walking towards the house,
to get my stuff, which I kept all of my belongings in the living room. She's standing in the doorway of the house. As I was walking past her, but not all the way past her because I didn't make it fully in the house, she took my head and like bashed it into the brick wall. That's like the exterior of the house, which obviously caught me by surprise. And we ended up fighting from there. I dropped my phone and everything. My friend was still on the phone throughout the entire thing. But I dropped my phone and I actually did start putting my hands on her from there because honestly, I did snap and ultimately did not expect that to happen. But again, within that time period, I'd already been abused twice before this happened.
Okay. So you mentioned you walked back towards the house. Were you walking at a fast pace, at a regular pace? What kind of pace?
At a regular pace, mainly because I wouldn't say I was scared, but I definitely wasn't happy. Like I wasn't confident in, the way things would turn out, which again, I keep reiterating, I've been abused many times before, so I kind of know the signs before they happen. So I'm on the phone with my friend still, like on FaceTime. So I'm holding my phone, looking down at my phone, walking towards the house. It did take me at least, 30 to 40 seconds or so to get all the way to the front door.
Okay. You mentioned that your head, that you had your head pushed into a brick wall.
I thought he said hand. Was it hand
No,
or
head?
She said her head.
It's my
She
head.
said her head, Judge.
Yes.
She said her head, Judge.
Did you take pictures of your injuries?
I believe they did take pictures when the ambulance came, like the police or the ambulance did.
That's why she was
myself,
bleeding.
I don't remember if I took pictures, but I do know that, like I said, I was literally still on like FaceTime with my friend the entire time that a lot of this was happening.
If I showed you pictures, would they accurate of your injury? Would that can you tell me if they accurately represented the scene at the time?
Yeah, and I can tell you right now, there was like blood leaking from like my forehead line, like here.
Here, look. Okay, well, I'm gonna show that to you, and I want you to let me know if you can authenticate it. Okay.
Shut up. You digging me?
Yes, sir.
We'll stipulate to the photos.
So that's where the blood came from.
Okay. Does this
Headbang.
accurately represent your head on that day?
Yeah, well, yes, but not the entire thing because I know majority of the blood was coming from like, it wasn't like my forehead itself, but it was definitely like in my hair. Like I couldn't see where it was coming from, but it was like everywhere. There was enough for it to be leaking down my face and onto hers.
Okay. I'm gonna scroll down a little bit.
Okay, that looks more right because I can see a little bit like how it's red, like here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's
And what
bleeding.
does this depict?
Yes, that makes sense because I know the ambulance, they told me that it wasn't like life-threatening or anything like that. And it was not a huge gash there, but definitely enough, of course, for it to be bleeding like that.
And do you recognize this picture?
Not 100%, no.
Okay, no problem. Your Honor, I'd like to introduce states 1, 2, and 3 into evidence.
All right, the defense stipulated, so they'll be in, the 3 pictures will be in evidence.
Yes, Your Honor, I will not be entering the 4th one since the defendant does not have a recollection.
That's fine.
Okay. I want to turn your attention to the State's Exhibit 2. It's the one that you said was more accurate. Could you tell me a bit about what I'm looking at, what this picture depicts?
That's just me, like I said, whoever it was, I don't know if it was the people from the ambulance or the police officer himself taking a picture of, the aftermath of it. Because like I said, at the time, what started the incident was her bashing my head into the wall. And I'm not a lot taller than her, but I'm definitely taller than her. So it makes sense that it was more my head than my forehead.
I see. Okay. Did you at any point during this incident hit yourself?
No.
Did you at any point during this incident pull your own hair out?
No.
Okay. Where do you see blood in this picture in Safe Exhibit 2?
In her hair?
Did you ask me that?
Yes.
Sorry, the phone cut out. I see, like I said, a light. To me, it looks like a light amount of blood right now from basically my hairline and a little bit on my forehead and a decent amount of it like on my like eye, my nose, a little bit like under my cheek maybe. Not under my cheek, but on my cheek a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I want to draw your attention to State's Exhibit 3.
That's why police arrested her, the other lady.
Looks like, so, let's see, about, I'll withdraw that question. Okay. So, I'm going to stop sharing the screen now. So,
I think they had something going on.
That initially broke out. How far were you from Miss Williams when the argument started initially?
The actual argument itself, which I wouldn't really call an argument because it wasn't a screaming back and forth at each other. It was just her, telling me to get in the car and I'm telling her no. I'm not really good with, distance wise, but like I said, their front yard is pretty big. It is was pretty big. It's a corner house. And I'm like at the corner on the green box, almost in the neighbor's yard, pretty much like where their property line is. Enough, like I said, enough time for if I was walking normally for it to take at least, 30 to 40 seconds for me to get all the way to the house, like front door where she was at.
Okay. And how was your tone when you were having this discussion?
At first, it was, I'd say, loud more than anything because it was, we're a far distance away, so I'm having to raise my voice to say, I'm not getting in the car with you. Like, just like, obviously it'll be louder, but just like I said it now, I'm not getting in the car with you, one line, and her telling me again, to which I'm not getting in the car with you, I don't want to.
Were you aggressive in how you spoke to her?
I wouldn't say that I was aggressive, but I probably wasn't nice about it. I'd say I was, firm, but not, again, like not screaming.
Mm-hmm.
Where'd she go, y'all?
Was her son present?
No, it was just the two of us, again, outside. Well, I'll rephrase that because I can't 100% say her son wasn't right there, and as she's standing in the doorway, but as far as I know, no kids were present, her son or her stepdaughter Desiree, because when the fight broke out, it was just the two of us in the living room, like living room doorway threshold, and they had to come downstairs to see what was happening.
Oh, so they were in the house fighting. I thought they was outside.
And I just want to make sure I understand too. You called the police, is that correct?
Yes, I did. I was actually screaming and hoping that somebody was going to call the police before I had to, but unfortunately, nobody came outside. Desiree didn't call the police. Obviously, Ethan couldn't call the police. So
you were screaming. Was this before or after your head met the brick wall?
I want to say probably at the same time that happened, and definitely like 100% sure when I was on top of her, like basically subduing her to keep her from getting up and doing anything else for me. I'm like, the door's wide open, my phone's next to her, and I'm screaming, somebody call the police, call the police, call the police.
Okay.
She said she was attacked when she was entering the house.
When the police arrived, who all did they speak with?
Sorry, I don't know what happened. Okay, there we go. I know for a fact they spoke with me, and I believe they tried to speak with Amanda. I don't remember if they actually like made contact enough to get her statement, but I do know she was still there. And I remember her pulling out of the driveway, because at this point, the police officer and I were standing in the yard next to the driveway. She gets in her car, backs out, pulls out of the driveway down the street, and like waves at me like this as she's leaving. And the police officer even said, like, she wasn't supposed to leave. Someone's going to have to go to her job and pick her up later or something like that.
Wow.
So I don't remember if he actually like tried to get a statement from her, got a statement or anything like that, but she was there. And then the police were also there when Greg arrived.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions at this time.
Cross-examination, Mr. Lynch?
Ms. Morris,
Yes.
so you testified that before this incident happened, you were sitting on a green transformer or some kind of power box?
Yeah, those little boxes in yards or whatever.
And that's something you did frequently?
Very frequently, multiple times a day. Most of the day, I spent most of my time outside of the home.
Okay. And you said you told your friend who you were talking on the phone with that you had a bad feeling about that day. Is that correct?
Yes.
You thought that you kind of had a premonition that there was going to be discord with Miss Williams. Is that right?
If you define discord as, something not good happening, then yes.
Okay. And you spoke about how you had been previously the victim of abuse and you understood the cycle. And you weren't referring to Miss Williams, were you?
Physically, no. She has abused me in the past, yes, but physically, no. I've been physically abused by my dad, someone else in Ohio, things like that. So that's what I mean.
So she never physically abused you in any way?
No, she's never physically laid a hand on me, anything like that.
And prior to this incident, she had told you that she didn't want you to continue to live in her house. Is that correct?
Do you mean prior to the incident?
I mean,
No.
on the incident date.
During the incident, yes. For me telling her that I don't want to get in the car with her, next led to her telling me that I needed to get my stuff and get out. Before that, she nor Greg, no one told me that, they wanted me to leave.
Okay. And so it's your testimony to this court that under oath, that you calmly and slowly walked up to Miss Amanda Williams, and then she grabbed you by your head and slammed your head into a brick wall. Is that your testimony?
Yes, sir.
And afterwards, you pinned her down on the ground, correct?
Yes, sir.
You delivered multiple blows to her head, correct?
Probably so, yes.
This was in front of a minor child, correct?
Incorrect.
Okay.
It wasn't until I started screaming, call the police, call the police. She was actually pretty silent during the entire thing.
Okay. Prior to this incident, it's fair to say that Miss Williams had been a source of support for you. Is that fair to say?
Oh, 100%.
Okay. And no further questions.
Redirect.
All right. Any follow-up from the state?
No, Your Honor, the state's going to rest at this time.
All right, hold on, Miss Morris, let me ask a couple questions. So
Yes, ma'am.
you came back from Ohio to live with Miss Williams and Mr. Cook?
No.
No, ma'am. Originally, I came back to live with my dad. Like I said, I got abused there. Me and my dad had been in talks for a couple of weeks. He said that I could come down there and live with him. Of course, I can come home. I got there and he and I had it out. We had a disagreement, and I said I wasn't going to stay in his house with him. Never even made it in the house. Sat outside on the curb. I believe I called my friend in Ohio, and I went live on Facebook talking about it. And then I received a text from Amanda asking me if everything was all right. Talked to her on the phone about what was going on. And she was in Oklahoma, and she, basically said, well, I told you, to come live with me in the first place, which she did originally before I even tried to go live with my dad, wanted me to live with her. But I decided that I wasn't going to go down that path due to the way things ended when I lived with her as a teenager.
Okay, what happened?
How did things end?
Yeah, I want to know that.
let's try to make it short. Again, we were working at Sonic together. She was, at the time she started working there, she was an assistant general manager, and another person was hired to be an assistant general manager, and they were kind of, I guess, battling for the general manager spot. Of course, I'm living with Amanda at the time. Me and the person I'm speaking about, her name is Emily Ferries. We ended up dating eventually.
Dating.
From
Okay,
Ohio.
there go the
We
truth.
got really close,
There
became
go the
good
truth right
friends,
there.
and started hanging out a lot. Amanda did not care for that, mainly because I no longer worked on her shifts with her. I wasn't really around at the house helping out. You know, a lot of times I'd help out with Ethan, her son, help clean things, you know, stuff like that. I was very kind of underneath her
Yes,
wing,
you
you know what
did.
I mean?
Okay.
And eventually I kind of just drifted away from her and started hanging out more with Emily. We got into an argument once where she accused me of, well, this is way before me and Emily were ever intimate, accused me of, you know, being with Emily in that way, and told me that I needed to move out and get my stuff and move out. At this time, we weren't at the house when she had this conversation with me. I was outside of Sonic. She was at Sonic on the clock and came outside to tell me that. And I ended up moving out and living with Emily / living with my dad again in Conyers instead of Morrow for a little bit. But we all still worked at Sonic together. And at that point, there was a lot of animosity between her and Emily, somewhat her and me, but just not as much as her and Emily.
Ooh, she got off, y'all.
And eventually, me and Emily both stopped working at Sonic. I moved to Ohio to work at a Sonic out here.
All right, did you move to Ohio with someone, or did you just say, I'm gonna pick Ohio and I'm gonna move there?
No, I moved to Ohio with someone. Like I said, at this point, I was
Was it Emily?
Still homeless, yes. So I was still homeless at the time for the most part. I was like living with my dad a little bit, but due to our history, I wasn't living there. I was staying with Emily, which was down the street from Sonic.
Emily.
And then Emily moved back to Ohio and you moved with Emily.
Yes, she wanted to move back to Ohio. I eventually decided, you know, I'll come to Ohio with you. There's nothing for me here anyways.
Okay, so you stayed in Ohio. Things did not go well in Ohio.
Yes, but not immediately. There's at least like a 3-year time span between that. Things did go well at first. Of course, me and Emily ended up breaking up. She was abusive to me at some point as well, so we broke up. I started, you know, living on my own, things like that. And I think I was like 19 at the time. So honestly, I screwed a lot of stuff up. I lost my car, lost my house, stuff like that, not paying my bills, ended up being homeless again, staying with other friends and things like that in Ohio. My uncle passed away, and I ended up coming back to Georgia like shortly after that to live with my dad. So like this is all within from 2017 to actually, yeah, that's more than 3 years because I even went back home to Mississippi in 2020 for like a year. So by the time I came back to Georgia, it was
3 years.
I was only back in Georgia for about a month in 2022, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was Emily the friend that you were on the phone with, or was that somebody else?
No, the friend that I was on the phone with, her name is Chanel Smith. And we're actually like still friends to this day, like best friends.
All right. So on the day that this happened, so when you came back to live with Greg and Amanda, they talk a lot about how your personality changed from the first time.
Oh, it definitely did.
Okay, so you acknowledge that there were some differences.
Yes, ma'am. Again, at the time, I was a teenager. Yes, I'd been through abusive things and stuff like that with my dad, but I still had, you know, school, extracurricular activities. I loved working at Sonic. It was kind of my whole life. So I was a very helpful, bubbly person. Ethan, her son, he kind of looked at me like a sibling. He didn't really understand that I was a girl, so he called me his brother, things like that. We were really close. And, you know, I took care of a lot of things around the house. Me and Amanda were, you know, I know the age difference is crazy, but we were basically best friends.
No, I mean, if you click with somebody. So, so then when you came back, at the time you came back, you were more introspective and kind of preferred to be alone more.
Yes. At this point, I'd gone through, you know, my first real relationship. I'd moved out of state to Ohio, you know, no family, no friends except for Emily, gotten abused by her, lost everything. I'm not in college or anything like that. My life's pretty terrible. And then been abused and mistreated multiple times by other people in Ohio, as well as still dealing with the stuff from my dad, even from a
Okay.
distance.
So now you come back. You're welcomed back, I guess, into the home by Greg and Emily. I mean, by
No,
Amanda.
yeah.
Essentially, they're saying that, you know, as long as you're working, you know, you can stay there.
I wouldn't say they necessarily told me as long as I'm working, I can stay there, but they kind of didn't have to because my whole goal was, you know, to work. Like I had a job lined up for me when I got down there, which was Sonic, but I started working with Amanda at Starlight instead, you know, and helping out a friend, whatever, pretty much what she wanted me to do.
Okay, but then you went back to Sonic.
Yes.
Okay, so now with all this being said, what made you have a bad feeling on that day? Had you and Miss Williams had arguments, or you said there was no physical thing, but had y'all had arguments?
So when I was a teenager, of course,
No, but not that far.
Well, that's kind of what gives me that inclination of how she acts. So
Okay,
that's why
so-
I say I've been through a lot of situations with people where, you know, I'd say I've never been, you know, abused or mistreated like that by a random person. It's always been from a person I've been cool with friends, family, whatever. So I like know their patterns. We're like this, you know, we talk all the time. You share a lot of things with me, and then out of nowhere, you're distant. You don't really talk to me. I can just tell by your body language and your tone. And that's how it went with Amanda. And that's exactly how it went the first time as a teenager. The only difference then is she had never put her hands on me. It was just get out, you know what I mean? But this time around, it was her being distant for the most part. And I could tell one day we were out on the porch and Ethan was trying to talk to me. And I'm, you know, in my space, the little green box, I'm on the phone with my friend and he's trying to talk to me, have fun, whatever. And I'm just not going forward. And I'm just like, you know, I don't want to play right now. But he had asked me to play with him for probably a whole week. And I was pretty much just blowing him off. And that pissed Amanda off. Like she actually told me, like, I don't like the way you're treating my son. He really wants to talk with you and play with you, and you're ignoring him. And that's at the point where I believe, I don't know if I told it to Greg as well, but I do remember having that conversation like loud enough for everybody to know, like, I'm not the same person I was before. I keep telling everybody this. I'm not in a playful mood. I don't want to play. I don't want to sit around and chit chat and talk. I don't really want to be bothered. Like my life's in shambles. I'm trying to fix it. And obviously that made everybody uncomfortable.
All right. And so
She's
when she
honest,
came
y'all.
out that day, had y'all, okay, let me ask this. Prior to that day, March, I guess 30th, had she taken you to work before?
She had, yes, well, she had definitely taken me to work before at Starlight with her. I don't remember how long I worked there at the skating rink with her, maybe a week, maybe a little less. And I remember quitting to work at Sonic instead. So every day that I worked, maybe minus one day, she took me to work. Like we worked the same shift.
Okay. And so on this particular day, you said, I have a bad feeling and I just don't want to ride with you.
Yes, and a little into that is I felt that way as well because of what I just gone through with my dad. I got in the car with him. Everything was fine before we got in the car. As soon as we got in the car and we're on the highway, now, you know, he's screaming and yelling at me. I'm trying to think of escape. I can't. Like I've been in those kind of situations before. And that's what I mean as far as I got a feeling like something great is not about to happen no matter what it is. I don't need to be like held hostage in a way. Like not saying she would have like kidnapped me, but more like there's no way I should get in a moving car with somebody that I'm not in control of that clearly has a problem with me. Like I know she's not happy at me. I didn't know she was angry, but I knew she wasn't happy with me. And all this is literally everything that I'm talking about is in the span of like 2.5, 3 weeks.
Okay. So last question. Do you know what PTSD, well, last series of questions, do you know what PTSD is?
Yes, I was actually diagnosed with PTSD shortly after coming back to Ohio after that incident.
Okay. All right. That's all the questions I have. Mr. Lynch, did you have any other questions?
No, I'm no further questions at this time, Judge.
All right, Mr. Tipton, did you have any other questions?
No, Your
Federal
Honor.
Express. She works for Federal Express.
All right. argument?
Yes, Judge, I'd like you to pay attention to the many consistencies that are consistent between Ms. Williams' testimony, Mr. Cook's testimony, and even Ms. Morris's testimony. There's no allegations that there's past incidences of abuse. The only real difference in Ms. Morris's story is that in her version, she walks up calmly to my client, and my client then slams her head into a wall. You heard from Ms. Williams, who testified truthfully, that that's not what happened at all, that in fact, Ms. Morris was hitting herself, that she was irate, that she was screaming, and that she ran at her in an aggressive manner, and that my client stepped in front of her child and pushed her away. And then Ms. Morris
can't even get the
admits
story
that she
together.
got on top of Ms. Williams and delivered multiple blows to her head. The testimony of the demeanor of Ms. Morris was testified to by Mr. Cook, which is not consistent with someone who was just being calm. So, Your Honor, I believe that the testimony of Ms. Williams that is largely consistent, except for on this one point with Ms. Morris and her ex-partner, does meet the standard of preponderance of an evidence that any act that she did, any physical contact she made with Ms. Morris was in self-defense. Mr. Tipton attempted to impeach her with a conviction from 20 years ago, even though that wasn't introduced, Your Honor. But if you listen to the testimony of Ms. Williams, which is corroborated with Ms. Morris, all Ms. Williams has been to Ms. Morris is a source of support, giving her a place to live, setting up GoFundMe accounts for her, trying to encourage her to work, and allowing her to live in her house. And when she wasn't, at a point, she asked her to leave and told her she was not going to be able to continue to live there. I don't think that, and that's not disputed. Ms. Morris admits that she had told her that prior to this incident. I don't think that's consistent with her just calmly walking up to her, and then my client just out of nowhere slamming her head against the wall, especially when you consider there's no prior incidents of physical contact or abuse. Ms. Morris testified that she's been abused by a lot of people, and I don't necessarily dispute that. However, she was not abused by was Ms. Williams. Ms. Williams allowed her into her home, supported her, and when that wasn't working out, told her she had to go. And Ms. Williams did what she had to do to protect her minor child, who then had the traumatic event of witnessing his mother being beat on. I just believe Ms. Williams' testimony was credible. I believe it moves the needle past the preponderance of the evidence. And I believe that the consistencies with everything other than exactly how this incident transpired, the physical part of it, is enough for you to make a finding that Ms. Williams is immune from prosecution because her actions were justified as being in defense of herself and in defense of others. She testified to what she was thinking as she noticed Ms. Morris charging at her. I don't find it credible that Ms. Williams grabbed Ms. Morris by the head and slammed her head into a brick wall as she was walking at her calmly. There's no evidence of anything that would support Ms. Williams would behave in that manner. I believe all the testimony
Now she's crying.
from Ms. Williams and from her ex-husband or ex-partner is consistent with Ms. Williams getting up here and telling the truth about what happened. So I would ask Your Honor to grant the defense motion, find that Ms. Williams is immune from prosecution, and dismiss this case against her.
Mr. Tipton?
Yes, Your Honor. So first off, Your Honor, I do want to make sure that the court's aware that the state's opinion is that much of what was testified to was, quite frankly, irrelevant. At the end of the day, we are concerned about what occurred on 3/30 of 2022. I don't think that the evidence of all these wonderful things that Miss Williams did, and they were wonderful, is necessarily relevant to what occurred on 3/30 of 2022. And likewise, I don't think Mr. Cook's testimony is particularly relevant because he wasn't present at the time. Likewise, Your Honor, we've heard this, we heard, and if I recall correctly, it was just from Miss Williams that a child was present, but no child testified to being present. No child was came on and said what happened. Given that that is Miss Williams's child, I assume it would have been very simple to bring that child. Now,
True.
with regard to
the
immunity motions,
Especially
there are a
get
few
the right.
cases that I'd like to cite. I'd like to specifically start off by citing State v. Goodrum. That is a Superior Court case from Cobb County in 2020, where they laid out the tests that courts should follow regarding whether or not an immunity motion should be granted. And that is that the use of force must be reasonable, that the use of force must not be excessive, and that the parties must not be engaged in mutual combat. Now, that the site on that, it's a Lexus site. It's 2020 GA Super Lexus 1480. And specifically, I want to draw the court's attention to what will be page 10 on that and it will specifically lay out that test. The facts in that case are that there was a shooting, and that they had to go through all of the different they had to go through and apply all of these to show that the defense had to show that there was not mutual combat that was willingly engaged in by both parties, that the use of force was not excessive, and the use of force was reasonable. In that case, someone got threatened and shot somebody. In this case, there's a difference regarding facts between what Miss Williams is saying and what Miss Morris is saying. Miss Morris is saying that she didn't touch Miss Williams until Miss Williams touched her, and that she walked calmly, that there may have been some type of argument, but that otherwise it was a calm walk. The proportionate response to an argument is not to bash someone's head into a wall. Likewise, Your Honor, the defendant specifically stated that Miss Morris had been hitting herself on the forehead. However, the injury to the head was well into her hairline on the top of her head. And the testimony of Miss Morris specifically said that Miss Williams had bashed her head into a brick wall, which her injuries appeared to be consistent with. Now, I also want to bring to the court's attention the imminent threat of violence, which the defense has not met. There was an argument made from Miss Williams that there was an imminent threat to her or her child. However, no other party corroborated that, and in fact, there was disagreement between her and Miss Morris about that. And the requirement that a threat be imminent has been established by the Georgia Court of Appeals in McDonald v. State. That's 170 Georgia App 884. And let's see if I have a pen site for that.
and that's going to be at page. Okay, the Lexus page for it is 258. I'm sorry, 258. And lastly, Your Honor, I want to bring to the court's attention Roper v. State. That's a Georgia Supreme Court case. That is, let's see. Oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor. I gave you the pen site to Roper v. State previously. I meant to give you the eminent requirement from McDonald v. State. Let me get that to you. I'm sorry, that's McDonald v. McDonald v. State is 170 Georgia App 884 at page 885. Excuse me. But Roper v. State specifically states that where a rational prior fact could find beyond a reasonable doubt, i.e., where there are two conflicting stories that could be credible, that should be left to the trier of fact. And specifically, Roper v. State is a case where there was a dispute about whether or not a victim had threatened the defendant with a gun, causing the defendant to shoot the victim. And the site for that, Your Honor, is 281 Georgia 878, and I'm specifically starting at page 879 and going through to a portion of 880. So for those reasons, Your Honor, the state believes that one, there's inconsistency between the two relevant testimonies. I do not believe that Mr. Cook's testimony is relevant at all, given that Mr. Cook was not present during the initial incident. And the whole issue that we're dealing with, Your Honor, is whether or not there was self-defense. Likewise, I do not believe the defense has met their burden in that they did not put in that if there was this additional witness who would have been very well available, they did not provide that witness. Further, Your Honor, because there are differences between the two stories, that Roper v. State would call for this to be taken to a rational trier of fact. And with that, Your Honor, the state respectfully requests that the court deny the defense's motion.
All right, so put aside anything testified to by Mr. Cook. The consistencies are that the initial time of staying together was pretty much a good experience. Ms. Morris had some issues with her dad. That came up. There was some issues with one of the ladies that she worked with and Ms. Williams. But all in all, it was positive enough for that when Ms. Morris went to Ohio and came back, when she needed a place to stay, she didn't hesitate to come back to stay with Ms. Williams. And so I'm not taking into all the fundraising and all of that stuff, don't care about. But when she went away and came back, they were on a good enough footing for her to come back into that household. What they both are consistent about is that Miss Morris's demeanor changed and she was vastly different from the person who was there the first time. What they're consistent about is that Miss Williams had given her a ride to work before, and this was not out of the norm on that day for her to offer Miss Morris a ride to work. What is consistent is both of them talk about Miss Morris spending a considerable amount of time just sitting on the green transformer box in the yard, and as she was doing on that day. What is consistent is that on that day, Miss Williams once again said, "Hey, I'm going to give you a ride to work. Let's go." But on that day, for a bad feeling, which Miss Morris hasn't provided an actual reason stemming from an action that Miss Williams took on that day or immediately prior to that situation, she had a bad feeling about this situation and decided that she didn't want to ride with Miss Williams. Where the inconsistencies come is where Miss Williams says she went back to get her purse. Miss Morris was at the end of the driveway. When she looked around, Miss Morris was approaching, and by the time she went to go close the door, which she said it admits that she hit Miss Morris or pushed Miss Morris when she was attempting to close the door as she was backing into the house, then the consistency again is that Miss Morris was on top of her, blows were thrown. Miss Morris said she was yelling for somebody to call the police. Miss Williams was on the floor, and Miss Morris was hitting her. This is such a difficult situation because I really believe that on that day, Miss Williams didn't do anything to be the protagonist in this case. She did the same thing she had done previously. It was Miss Morris who had the bad feeling, who decided she wasn't gonna take the ride, who then advanced towards the house. And as Miss Williams is backing into the house, trying to close the door, the contact was made. But I don't believe that the contact was initiated for anything other than her protecting herself. And then she says the child was in the doorway, so protecting the child. Even if let's assume that the child wasn't even there, but moving back into the house and protecting herself. At this point, based on the testimony that has been given by both the relevant parties, as Mr. Tipton says, Miss Morris and Miss Williams, I think Miss Williams' actions on that date were reasonable and under the standard for a motion for immunity. I believe that that standard has been met, and so that this time the court grants the motion for immunity from prosecution to Miss Williams. All right. So Mr. Lynch, draft the order.
Yes, Your Honor.
The difficulty for the court is that I believe that Miss Morris has been through more than any person should ever have to go through.
Therapy.
Things that are so negative, and so many adults have failed her in her development. And I believe that just until there's some help for Miss Morris, I don't know that she's going to be able to move forward. When you're abused by multiple people, that has repercussions throughout your life. And Miss Morris, I apologize on behalf of all of those people who failed you. I apologize that you didn't have a safe space. And so I hope that you're able to move forward from this point. I noticed that you have a job with a particular company. I'm not going to call that company out, but if they have an employee assistance program that will provide counseling of any type, I would advise that you may want to seek that counseling, because it's difficult for me having to make this decision. I believe I am firm in my belief that I've made the right decision, but I'm also firm in the belief that you have been ill-treated by a lot of people in your life, and you're not going to be able to move past that until you focus on getting better, and with the help of a therapist or somebody who can help you kind of work through that. And so for those reasons, like I said, I do believe I made the right decision, but I do encourage you to seek counseling that may help you move forward in life, because I think you still deserve the opportunity to go to college and to develop and to have all of those things that should come to you. Okay. So
may I say something before we go?
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to say that since that time, I've actually sought a lot of help, counseling, and then some. I am actually doing great. However, this entire journey right here, something that I completely forgot about and didn't even think was going to move forward, has actually done less in helping my progression, because honestly, I would
brings
have
up-
rather just, I would have just let it go at that point. Honestly, like, no one really talked to me throughout this entire thing until a week or two before, the court date comes up. No one's
That's the
really gotten
state
my
fault.
testimonies, things like that before
fault.
this even happened today. So at
That's
the end of the
victim
day,
advocacy.
everything happens for a reason. I just want to say that just because I've been through a lot of stuff in my life with others, and she had not been one of those people until that day, does not mean that my events did not happen. And also, as no one asked me, if she was in such fear for her son, why didn't she call the cops? But you've already given your decision. It is what it is, and God bless you all, but it is what it is.
All right, Ms. Morris,
She's
thank you.
hurting, y'all. She's hurting.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll take that order. Unless we have something else that I don't know about, court will be adjourned.
Hey, Your Honor,
Have a good one.
Your Honor, I
Alright.
do just want to perfect one thing on the record.
Yes,
the
Mr. Tipton.
Yes, Your Honor. The state has reached out several times to Ms. Morris.
See, they lying now.
Including throughout 2023 and 2024.
Now they're gonna try to
and we
fix
did
this
not-
though.
And this is the first time that she has informed anyone from the state that she wanted this case to be let go of. Had that been something that was brought to our attention, we would have let it go.
They lying now.
All right,
They
I get it.
lying, y'all. You
All
see
right,
that?
so at this time, the court has ruled. The court is.
You see that? You see how the state just lied? Liars. She said she had moved on. They called her. All right. I'm about to get off, y'all. That was a great case. Good case. I like this judge. Judge Hill, something like that. That's her name. You see how they got tried to switch it up? The state tried to switch it up and talk about, oh, we reached out to her. She had moved on, she said. She moved on. She talking about, oh, if we had known that she wanted to drop the case. They called her for testimony that didn't care about nothing about that woman. All right. Yeah, we do need judges like her. All right. I'm about to go. That was a great one. We gotta keep watching her because she seemed like she's really, really good. She's in the courtroom right next to my courtroom, the case I'm on. She's right next door. She is right next door. She reminds me of Judge Edmonds. She makes the state do their job. But anyway, guys, it's been great. I will see you guys later. Peace out. Writers, I need to have a meeting. All right. Talk to you guys later. Did you ever see her in the hallways? Who, the judge? No, I wasn't in there long enough to be in the hallways to see the judge. And the judges don't walk through the hallway. They walk through the back. They have their own entrance. They don't go in the same entrance as everybody else. Judges always go in the back entrance. People in the regular do not see judges. All right. Bye.
Thank you for watching the infamous Sylvia channel, where laughter and fun make up our panel. Together we build this digital spree. We appreciate you and our growing family. With mods by our side and chat flowing free in this online space. It's just you and me, we laugh until tears roll down like the rain. In this virtual world, you ease all my pains. We're family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mods and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. We cherish the moments, the highs and lows, from the latest gossip to stories untold. You're more than a viewer, you're part of the crew in this space of ours. It's all because of you. This digital world where emotion is shared, every post and reaction showing we care. The love is real in this virtual domain. With every sign, enjoys what we'll gain. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mars in check, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mars in check, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. This digital world where emotion is shared, every post and reaction showing we care. The love is real in this virtual domain. With every sign, enjoys what we'll gain. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mars in check, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars.